Chapter 1452. She clearly wanted to deal with Jiang Shui too, so this matter was considered her business. How did it become her helping them? You want a reward? It's not impossible to ask for a reward. Sima He-shun looked at her with a smile, which made her have a bad premonition. She instinctively took a step back and said, "What do you want?" "You said you want a reward? I'm thinking of what to give you." Sima He-shun said, "Your net worth is not low, and this is a big matter. The remuneration will definitely not be low, so the average one won't do." Sima Yue looked at him cautiously. The friendlier this guy smiled, the more dangerous she felt. "I'll make my own request." "You don't have to think about it," she said. "That won't do." Sima He-shun said, "You just came back, you don't know our family's background, and you don't know what conditions we can offer." Then he pretended to think for a moment and said, "How about this, in order to match your social status, why don't we use the Sima family as a reward?" What? Sima Yue was stunned, and so were the others. Old fox, old fox." Sima Yue gritted her teeth and shouted when she came out of the house. What did he mean by giving her the Sima family as a reward? He obviously wanted her to return to the family and take over the mess. Old fox. Old fox. It's great now. Not only is there no reward, there's also a lot of trouble. She narrowed her eyes. "Don't think that I'll agree just because of this, you damned old fox. You dare to set me up? See if I don't turn this place upside down." Mu Si watched from the side as she gritted her teeth and cursed, "Master, didn't you not agree in the end?" "What do you know? Although I didn't agree, I didn't get any reward in the end. I even agreed to help them." Sima Yue felt depressed as she spoke. Mu Si smiled when he saw Sima Yue's expression. Usually, she had everything planned out and was full of confidence in whatever she did. Now that he saw her deflated, her angry little face was quite cute. "Master, are you really not going to take over the Sima family?" he asked. The other party actually said that he wanted her to be the successor of the clan, a female clan head. This was extremely rare in the entire continent. To the average person, this was extremely tempting. What's so good about the Sima family? It's a bunch of trouble. I don't want it, Sima Yue said in disdain. Before coming to the inner region, she had some fantasies about the Sima family. When she first arrived at the inner region and heard about the general situation, she lost all hope in her heart. Now that she had a preliminary understanding of the Sima family situation, she felt that it was more than just a fantasy. It was simply falling into a deep pit. Now, he wanted her to take over? No way. Then should we leave this place? Sima Yue was stunned. She sighed and said, "Let's wait a little longer." If he left now, how would he deal with those matters? He couldn't possibly leave his great-grandfather and grandfather to face those wolves, tigers, and leopards, right? Moreover, she had no idea what she was going to do. Thinking of this, she scratched her head and said, "This is so depressing. I'm going to go into seclusion. I don't want to see the Sima family, and I don't want to see that old fox. If someone is looking for me, just tell them not to disturb me." After speaking, she flicked her sleeves and turned to leave the courtyard. Mu Si looked at Sima Yue's back. He really wanted to say, "Master, don't you have to go back to your room for seclusion? Why are you going out?" The people in the house felt Sima Yue's anger and said nervously, "She'll be fine like this, right?" Sima Yuan said with a smile, "Don't worry, nothing will happen. Don't look at Yue like this, she actually has a family in her heart. This girl, you can't use force. You can only surround her with kinship and soften her. But she doesn't want to take over the clan. He-shun, if you do this, she will be very angry. Won't it backfire?" Sima He-shun said confidently, "It won't. She's a loyal and righteous child." "But if you really let her be the head of the clan, isn't this a bit inappropriate?" Sima He-shun shook his head and said, "I don't really intend to let her take over the Sima family." "Are you lying to her?" "I'm serious." "He-shun, we're all confused by you." "There's nothing to be confused about," Sima He-shun explained. "I really want her to take over the clan, but I also know that she won't." "She's lazy." "Lazy?" "Yes." Sima He-shun nodded. "I've looked at her experience carefully. Whether it's the club established in the academy, the Heartbreak Valley established, or the current Paramount Valley, the guest elder of the Alchemist Guild, and the deputy leader of the Pill Subdivision, it can be said that they were all created by her or centered around her, or they were sincerely invited by her. But she didn't hold a substantial position in any of the forces. It can be seen that she really doesn't care about power and influence. So, the Sima family is also not attractive to her. Then why did you still say that to her? Try it and try my luck. Sima Hishun smiled. Maybe she'll be crazy and agree. This could also work. Okay, about that matter, you have to instruct them to prepare and don't let anyone find out. Sima Yuan ordered. Yes, Patriarch. Everyone responded. Then this time's competition? Sigh, they're already like this. It's impossible for them to participate in the competition. Sima Yuan said. Then the profound moon fruit. Yue said that she would find a way to deal with the profound moon fruit. Since she knows the whereabouts, if she can't handle it well, we can come forward. Yes, that's also possible. Lu Xian really gave birth to a good daughter? That person still wanted to sigh, but before he could finish the last word, he stopped halfway. Well, this daughter wasn't born by him, she was reborn. That's not right. Even so, this body was still born by him. Yue is Yue. Sima Yuan said, this matter was personally said by Master Yin Lin. Master Yin Lin said it? What's going on? Actually, it's very simple. While they were talking about Sima Yue, she was sitting in the tea house in a very bad mood, looking at the three people who were smiling fakely in front of her. Miss Sima, what a coincidence, I didn't expect us to meet again so soon. Li Yao said with a smile. Yeah, it's really a coincidence. Sima Yue said lightly. Don't think that she didn't know that they had been sending people to monitor her. Now they said that it was fate. Only a ghost would believe it. You're alone this time? Why don't I see anyone else? You mean Lang Zhong? She directly exposed their intentions. Reading background default settings: classic light blue, classic light gray, classic green, classic bright yellow, dark blue, ocean, autumn green, elegant red, powder, family red, talk, thick sea, wide sky, heartbroken, past, snow, white, world, gray, world, font color default settings: white, red, green, blue, brown, font size default settings: small, medium, large, speed 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 1 0. Mouse scroll description: 1 to 10, 1 is the slowest, 10 is the fastest. Chapter 1453. Yang Shi was a little angry that her true thoughts had been exposed, especially since her voice was so loud that everyone in the tea house knew about it. But the person who monitored her said that he didn't see Lang Zhong leave at all, and now he only saw her and didn't see Lang Zhong. She wanted to see Lang Zhong, she really wanted to see him, so now she could only ask Sima Yue. She suppressed the anger in her heart and smiled. Previously, City Lord Lang said that he wanted to follow you. Now that I haven't seen him, I'm a little curious. Has he already left? I guess so. I haven't seen him for a few days, so he probably left. Sima Yu continued. However, he is someone who always comes and goes without a trace. I'm not sure if he has left or not. You don't know either? Yang Shi was a little happy to hear that she didn't know either. If he really liked her, how could he not tell her where he was? This meant that he didn't like her at all. But I think he will come back. Sima Yue did not seem to understand the joy in her eyes as she said matter-of-factly, he said that he would always follow me. I've been in seclusion recently. Now that I've come out, he should be back soon. So this was what she meant when she said she hadn't seen anyone for a few days? Yang Shi's face instantly darkened. Sigh, seriously, why do you think he's the city lord of Tangerine City? Pestering me all day? Sima Yue sighed and continued, can you guys help me out? I'm being pestered to death by him. Sigh, it's so frustrating. Yang Shi's hand on her knee suddenly clenched. Was this B*TCH deliberately showing off? We really don't know. Fong Qi said, because we would never shamelessly seduce others. Sigh, this isn't a matter of seduction. My parents gave birth to me as a natural beauty, which is why he stuck to me. Being too beautiful is a headache. Sima Yu sighed. She dared to say that she was seducing people? Then I'll call you ugly. City Lord Lang is not a superficial person. Meaning, if you didn't seduce him, how could he be charmed by you? However, Sima Yue smiled and nodded in agreement. You're right. He's not a superficial person. Otherwise, why would she keep pestering me? Doesn't this mean that not only do I have the looks, but I also have the inner qualities? In a private room on the 3rd floor, 2 women were paying attention to what was going on downstairs. When they heard her praise themselves, the corners of their mouths twitched. He likes such a woman? Ichuyu asked with a smile. How would he know what love is? In Susu said indifferently. That's true. He's always had a low EQ. Especially after that incident, his EQ plummeted. Ichuyu nodded seriously. However, this young she doesn't know his identity. If she knew that Lang Zhong turned out to be your little uncle, would she be so angry that she would vomit blood? She's heard of my uncle's name, but she's never seen him before. Now that he's using a pseudonym, how could she recognize him? In Susu shook her head helplessly when talking about her uncle. Is he gone now? No. I don't know where he is. In Susu said, every time something happens, he hides. I don't know where he is now. He will naturally come out when the game starts. Just like last time, he was also hidden. After many years, his family found out that he had come to Orange City alone. What happened this time? Ichuyu asked. In Susu shook her head and said nothing more. She turned her attention downstairs again and found that Yang Shi and the others had left. She stood up, left the private room, and went downstairs. Ichuyu saw that In Susu was a little anxious, and doubts arose in her heart, so she followed her down. Sima Yue was looking at the street scene outside in a daze. When she thought of the 3 people leaving in anger, her mood improved a lot. I'm in a bad mood now, but they still have to come looking for trouble. She was shrouded by Wise shadow. She looked up and saw In Susu in black and Ichuyu in a pink dress. She didn't know the one in the pink dress. Wasn't this one in black the woman who was with Lang Zhong on the ship? Was it another one who came to look for trouble? What's the matter? She asked. Do you know where he is? In Susu asked. Lang Zhong? Another one looking for him. She murmured, but I really don't know where he is. She and In Susu did not have any grudges. Judging from the situation at that time, Lang Zhong was still relatively familiar with her, so she did not act like she did just now. I can't contact him. In Susu said. Sima Yue blinked. If you can't contact him, then go to him. It's useless to look for me. If I can't contact him, it means that something happened to him. In Susu did not doubt her words. What I want to know is, what happened before he left? She even knew that something happened to him. It seemed that their relationship was indeed extraordinary. If anything happened, it was me who encountered something, and he was watching from the side. Then he disappeared. Sima Yue thought for a while and said, if he was really a little strange at that time. Why was it strange? He gave me the prescription for the antidote of the 100 days of sleep. When I refined the antidote, he was gone. Sima Yue shrugged, indicating that she really didn't know. Don't ask me. However, In Susu heard her words and exclaimed, 100 days of sleep. Are you sure it's the 100 days of sleep? What's there to be uncertain about? Sima Yue said, can I still take the antidote of the 100 days of sleep to detoxify other poisons? I see, no wonder this guy is hiding again. In Susu murmured, a little worried. She didn't know where he would be this time. Again? Could it be that he had hidden before? In Susu looked at Sima Yue. He was interested in her now. Could it be that she was the only one who could contact him? She said her thoughts. Sima Yue shook her head and said, he didn't leave me a way to contact him, but I can find him. Do you have a way? I have a way, but I'm very busy now. I don't have time to look for him. Sima Yue said. If you find him, I can give you a reward. Sima Yue smiled, deal. After a while, the 3 of them left the tea house and went out of the city. Are you sure he left in this direction? In Susu looked at Little Black who was in Sima Yue's arms with uncertainty. Sima Yue got the reward and was in a good mood. When she heard her words, she patted Black's head and said, Don't worry, Black's nose is the most sensitive. Not to mention that he didn't go far. Even if he returned to Tangerine City now, we can find him by smell. Right, Little Black? Little Black waved his paw, indicating that this was a piece of cake. Susu looked at Little Black, who didn't have any spiritual energy. She was still a little uncertain, but she could only choose to believe. The reward was not low. Chapter 1454. Sima Yue took them all the way out of the city. After walking for a long time, they finally saw the drunk Lang Zhong in a corner of the mountain. Susu was not surprised to see him like this. She had expected it from the moment she heard about 100 days of sleep. When Chuyu saw Lang Zhong like this, she exclaimed, "No way, Susu, your little uncle is actually like this. He doesn't even care about his image." Sima Yue glanced at Susu. It turned out that he was her little uncle. Susu fell down and came to Lang Zhong's side. Instead of helping him, she kicked him. Lang Zhong opened his eyes and glanced at her, took a sip of wine, and muttered, "Susu, why are you here? Lang, what have you become? Get up." Susu pulled a long face and shouted. Sima Yue followed and heard his name. She called him Lang. It seemed that Lang Zhong was just his alias. Lang sat up and shook his head. He was still dizzy. Susu looked at him like this and sighed. In the end, she couldn't bear to see him like this. She took out a medicinal pill and gave it to him to eat, and grabbed the wine jar from his hand. Sima Yue glanced at the wine jars all over the ground, smelled the fragrance of the wine floating in the air, curled her lips and said, "If I knew that you wanted to get drunk, you should have bought wine from me. My wine is much better than this." Only then did Lang notice Sima Yue and Chuyu not far away. "How did you do it?" he asked without thinking. Neither Susu nor Chuyu understood what he meant. Sima Yue understood. 100 days of sleep, how did you suppress it? He asked again. What? Susu and Chuyu looked at Sima Yue in shock. She actually suppressed 100 days of sleep? They also knew about the family back then, so they could understand why Lang had a hangover when he heard about 100 days of sleep. However, this little girl in front of them could actually suppress the poison of 100 days of sleep? This was a poison that even Lang was helpless against back then. It's simple. You just have to gather them together and seal them. Sima Yue said, "Of course, this method of sealing is not something that anyone can do." She sounded confident, but she also had the right to be confident. Haha. Lang laughed, but she could feel the bitterness in it. "Well, if you want to learn, I can teach you," Sima Yue said. He had given her the prescription for the antidote pill so readily, so she should be more generous and give him the method. However, Lang didn't agree or disagree. He just closed his eyes and lay on the ground. After a while, he said, "Susu, you brought someone else here. You've ruined my image." "What kind of image do you have?" Susu kicked him again. The way the two of them interacted with each other was not like that of uncle and nephew, but more like friends of the same generation. Although Sima Yue was a little curious about what had happened at that time to actually make him, who had always been unruly, become like this. However, she always felt that he was too mysterious and too eye-catching. If she got involved with him, it would definitely cause trouble. "Since the person has been found, I won't disturb you from catching up," she said. "Don't worry." Chuyu pulled Sima Yue. "My name is Chuyu, and this is Susu. What's your name?" Sima Yue. She would know this kind of thing when she went back to the city, so she didn't need to hide it. Chuyu found that Sima Yue didn't react at all when she heard their names, and said in surprise, "You don't know us? Should I know you?" Sima Yue asked. Chuyu was stunned. This was the first time she had encountered such a reaction. "Haha, do you really think that you are already famous in the world?" Although Lang's words were sarcastic, there was no irony. Sima Yue understood this time. It seemed that these two people were very famous. "I've only been in the inner region for a few days, so I don't know the situation here very well," Sima Yue explained. "I knew it. How could there be people in the inner region who don't know us?" Chuyu said, I didn't expect that the people outside are as powerful as you. It's okay outside, but here, I'm at the bottom. Sima Yue said with a smile, without complimenting them or feeling inferior to herself. This neither servile nor overbearing attitude made them think highly of her. My relatives at home don't know that I left and haven't returned for a long time. They should be worried now. So I'll take my leave first. Sima Yue finished and glanced at Yin Lang lying on the ground. The agreement between us is still valid. When you want to know that method, you can come to me. Then can we go to you too? Ichuyu asked. Of course. Goodbye. After that, she nodded to everyone and left with Little Black in her arms. Ichuyu looked at Sima Yue's back, played with her hair, and said, "This little girl is not bad, no wonder you followed her." Yin Lang did not answer. He followed her just on a whim, but he did not expect to encounter this thing. Yin Susu looked at him in silence and said, "Grandma died from 100 days of sleep, and now this poison has appeared again. What are you going to do? Do you want to report it to the family?" "No need." Yin Lang opened his eyes and looked at the blue sky. "I have a hunch that if I follow her, I can know what happened behind her." "Then you want to go back?" "Then you have to be careful." Ichuyu said, "We saw Yangshi pestering Sima Yue today to ask about your whereabouts." "Yangshi? Who is it?" Not long after Sima Yue left them, she found that something was wrong. She had just walked for a while. How could she see the city gate? She stopped, looked at the unreal environment around her, and smiled. What was she thinking just now? She didn't even notice such a low-level illusion array. Was she thinking about why Yin Lang was like this? You want to trap me with this illusion array? Sima Yue couldn't think of who wanted to kill her. Although Yangshi was very suspicious, the competition would start in a few days. If she wanted to kill her, it should be after the competition. Could it be that she had stimulated her so much in the tea house during the day that she couldn't help it? While thinking, she cracked the array. After a long time, she still hadn't cracked the illusion array, so she began to look at it seriously. It seemed that the other party was an expert in setting up an array. She didn't know which enemy had invited this expert. She put away her thoughts. Before she could study this array properly, she saw hundreds of spirit beasts running towards her. F***, so many spirit beasts. She cursed, turned around and ran. Even if it was an illusion array, if she was attacked, she would be injured. Chapter 1455. Unfortunately, the other party did not intend to give her a chance to escape. When she turned around, she discovered that the scenery behind her had completely changed. The mountain range behind him had disappeared, and instead, it was replaced by a vast ocean. The surging ocean water rose several hundred feet high, and in the middle of the ocean water, there was a huge bloody mouth. F***, this illusion array is really F***king powerful. Do I have a grudge against a formation master of this level? Sima Yue shouted and stopped running. There was a wolf in front and a tiger behind. Even if he wanted to run, he couldn't. She called out all the beasts. When those beasts saw so many spirit beasts, they cried out, "Did you encounter a beast tide?" "It's not a beast tide, it's an illusion array." Crimson Flame said, "However, this illusion array is very powerful. If you're attacked inside, you'll be injured." "That's right." Sima Yue said, "The attack power of this illusion array is very strong. It will take some time to break it. Therefore, I need all of you." "Oh my God, I've finally heard you say that she needs us. It wasn't easy." Ye Guang exclaimed exaggeratedly. "Isn't that so? Every time, we felt that we weren't of much use, but this time, we're finally useful. Come on, so let's fight." Each of them blocked the incoming beasts so that Sima Yue did not have to worry about the situation here and could focus on studying the illusion array. Outside the array, a group of people looked at Sima Yue and her beasts who were circling around the array. "Like I said, I alone am enough," a Wairo-looking man said to Su Chong beside him. "Since she was able to kill my younger brother, her attainments in formations are naturally not low. Moreover, the people outside all say that she is very powerful, so we can't let our guard down." Su Chong said. Back then, her younger brother had been killed by that bitch because he had underestimated her. I say, Su Chang, your glacial cloud palace has been destroyed. Instead of hiding, you even called us to kill such a little fellow. Another person said discontentedly, it's the first time that so many people want to kill a little girl. Su Chang, once this matter is over, I won't owe you anything. That's right, Su Chang. We have never bullied the weak before. Don't forget what you promised me. Don't worry. I, Su Chang, always keep my word. You don't owe me anything in the future. As for the few of you, I will naturally hand over the things that I promised you with both hands. Su Chang said. Su Chang, we believe what you said. You know where the glacial cloud palace hides things. A cold-faced bearded man shouted. I know. I should say that I'm the only one who knows. Su Chang shouted. That's why your life is valuable now. He spoke very straightforwardly, not giving him any face at all. However, Su Chang did not dare to refute. Or rather, he didn't dare to provoke them. Like I said, who would want to kill me? Sima Yu's voice suddenly sounded, interrupting their conversation. Only to see the illusion below suddenly disappear, and Sima Yu led a group of beasts to look at them. Didn't you say that your illusion is very powerful? How did she crack it so quickly? Su Chang shouted. The array master was also shocked. He looked at Sima Yue in disbelief. How could this be? Sima Yue looked at Su Chang. He looked 70 to 80% similar to Su Lu. She could see that they were related by blood at a glance. At that time, Big Wei and Little Wei came to find her and told her that Su Lu had an older brother and asked her to be careful. She didn't take it to heart. She didn't expect that he would gather people to kill her. She looked around. She didn't expect Su Chang to bring more than 10 monarch-level experts to deal with her. He really thought highly of her. However, the people he brought were still a little lacking. Sima Yue, you killed my brother. Today, I must avenge my brother. Su Chang shouted. I killed him because he wanted to kill me. Now that you want to kill me, it seems that you want to go down and be with your brother. Sima Yue said. I heard from others that you have a deep relationship with your brother. It seems that it is true. Don't worry, I will definitely fulfill your wish. You're so young and yet you boast so shamelessly. A man next to Su Chang shouted. If I boast shamelessly, then you don't have any respect for your elders? There are so many people coming to kill me, how can you not feel embarrassed? Sima Yue mocked. We don't want to bully you with our numbers, but we owe Su Chang a favor, so there are some things that we have to do. Oh, stop talking nonsense. Since it's already like this, then let's do it. Sima Yue waved her hand and all her beasts flew over. Haha, there is a saying that says that young people are ignorant. That's you. Those people didn't put Sima Yue in their eyes. She was just a person who had just entered the monarch level. How powerful could her contracted beasts be? People had to pay the price for their own thoughts. And these people had to pay a higher price. They even lost their lives. Until they died, they couldn't believe that her beasts were so powerful. In just 2 or 3 exchanges, they were killed. In just 1 round, more than 10 people died. The remaining people were stunned. Su Chang is dead. Do you still want to work for him? Sima Yue looked at those strangers and didn't want to kill them. As they said, they owed Su Chang a favor, so there were some things that they had to do. There was no enmity between them, so she could give them a chance for the first time. However, if they were stubborn and wanted to kill her, she wouldn't be polite. Anyway, she wouldn't let go of those who wanted to kill her. Those people saw the strength of her beasts and were ready to fight to the death. However, they didn't expect that she would suddenly become easy to talk to. We don't have any enmity between us. It's only because of Su Chang that we met today. Now that Su Chang is dead, naturally there is no enmity between us. It seems that everyone is understanding. Sima Yue laughed. In that case, today's conflict doesn't exist anymore, right? Of course. The other party also put away his killing intent and smiled at Sima Yue. I am Lin Haiba from Shengda sect. Today's kindness of sparing my life, I will repay it in the future. Senior Lin is too polite. Sima Yue returned a salute. Her humble appearance was not as murderous as before. Goodbye. After Lin Haiba finished speaking, he turned and left. He was embarrassed to face her. When the others saw that he had left, they also cupped their hands at Sima Yue. Although they didn't introduce themselves like him, their attitudes still explained everything. They ran away quite fast. Little Seven put her hands on her hips. If they dare to do it again, I will make them never see the sun tomorrow. Someone is coming. Sima Yue said, you go back first. What happened? We heard the sound of fighting here. Ichuyu and the others came over and saw Sima Yue standing among the corpses and asked. Chapter 1456. Sima Yue looked at the corpse on the ground and said, we were ambushed. Ichuyu saw 1 or 2 familiar faces in the corpses on the ground. Unexpectedly, they were all killed by her. Are you all right? Yinlang asked. They are the ones who are in trouble. Even their lives were lost. You brought us here on a whim. How did you get ambushed? Yin Susu frowned. She was a little uncomfortable with the danger they brought to her. He must have been following me ever since I came to the inner region. I killed his brother, and he's been clamoring for revenge. Sima Yue said. You killed Sulu? Ichuyu exclaimed. Then aren't you an enemy of the 100 Changing Gate? The 100 Changing Doors is still very reasonable. Speaking of which, Big Wei and Little Wei were the ones who told me about this. Sima Yue said. The two of them represented the attitude of the 100 Changing Doors. You know Big Wei and Little Wei? I do. Sima Yue said. Since it was Big Wei and Little Wei who reminded you, then it means that the 100 Changing Doors will not pursue the matter of Su Li's death. Yin Susu said. Do you have a good relationship with 100 Changing Gate? Ichuyu asked. Not bad, I've saved some people before. Sima Yue said. She shot out a few flames and burned the corpses on the ground to ashes. However, they discovered that after the flames dissipated, other than the ashes, there were several spatial rings on the ground. Sima Yue went up and kept the space rings without any embarrassment. The inner region is really good. Everyone has such a rich collection. She looked at the items in the spatial rings and said with a smile. When they flew over and saw her from afar, they were worried for a moment. Now, it seemed like she wasn't scared at all. Miss Sima, are you going back to the city? We're also going back. Why don't we go together? Susu said. No need, I'll send her back. Lang Zhong said, it just so happens that I have something to tell her. Sima Yue smiled at Susu and said, then I'll go back with Lang Zhong. Lang. Since you're here, you must be here to participate in this competition. Yue is here to wish you victory. You're not participating? Sima Yue shook her head. Someone like me shouldn't go and embarrass myself. I'm more suited to watch from the audience. Although Ichuyu and Susu felt that she should shine brightly if she went to participate in the Doctors or Poison Masters, since she didn't want to, they couldn't say anything. Lang, you have to bring him back. Susu instructed. Don't worry, Susu. Nothing can happen with him around. Ichuyu took Susu's hand and urged, let's go back and prepare for the competition. All right. Contact us if anything happens. Susu looked at Sima Yue worriedly. All right, this something was referring to Lang's something. Sima Yue glanced at Lang and nodded, don't worry. Susu and Ichuyu left worriedly. Sima Yue looked at Lang and said, let's go. If there's anything, go back and wash up first. Lang saw the disgust in her eyes and smelled himself. There was indeed a very sour smell. Back at the inn where the Sima family stayed, she had just thrown him to wash up when Sima Lu Xian and the others broke in. Where have you been? Huang Ying saw Sima Yue coming back intact, and her nervous heart was relieved. I didn't go anywhere. When I was walking around the city, I met 2 friends, and then they were looking for Lang Zhong, so I took them there. Sima Yue explained, not mentioning that she was intercepted halfway. They said that there was movement outside the city before, saying that they saw your spirit beast. What's going on? Sima Xiuqi asked. Actually, it's nothing. When I was outside, I met Su Chang, and then he brought a few people over and said that he wanted to kill me. Do you know that my strength isn't something that ordinary people can touch? So I killed them all. Sima Yue said with a smile, I was just thinking that it's nothing, so I don't have to say it and make you worry. You still say it's nothing. They said that you called out all your spirit beasts. Tell me, when will you call out all your spirit beasts? Huang Yingying glared at her. They have been with her for so long and know her style of doing things. If it was not very urgent or dangerous, how could she call out all her spirit beasts? The situation at that time must have been extremely dangerous. Grandma, it's all over now. Don't worry about this. You just need to know that I won in the end. Sima Yue took Huang Yingying's hand and said coquettishly, This matter is completely resolved? Mu Si was still very worried. It was all his fault that he was not strong enough, otherwise he would not have to worry about this. Don't worry, Su Chang is already dead. There won't be anything. Sima Yue said with certainty. If there's anything next time, you must tell us, understand? Huang Yingying urged. I know. Sima Yue replied obediently. Anyway, there won't be a next time. At this time, Sima Yuan and Sima Hishun walked in. When they saw Sima Yue, they said, You came back just in time. We have something to tell you. Sima Yue saw that the two of them were a little anxious. She nodded and led them into the house. Yue, you killed people outside the city? Sima Yuan asked. What's wrong? One of them is from the Jiang family. Sima Yuan said. Jiang family? Could it be Jiang Shue's family? That's right. That's really a coincidence. Sima Yue shrugged. Anyone she killed would be from the Jiang family. It seemed that she and the Jiang family were not compatible. Why did the Jiang family come? If we get the news, the Jiang family will also get the news. Sima Yuan said, The person you killed has a high position in the Jiang family. The Jiang family has been coveting our Sima family for many years. Now that there is such a good opportunity, they will not let it go. Then they will come to you to hand him over? Sima Yue asked. Probably. However, we will not hand him over. Sima Yuan said, What is that Jiang family? How dare they lay their hands on my great-granddaughter? We are here now to ask you about the cause and effect of this matter. Sima Hishun asked, We will be able to deal with the Jiang family if we know what happened. Sima Yue told them about how she saved and killed Su Lu, and how Su Chang brought people to take revenge. Sima Yuan and Sima Hishun looked at her helplessly. Saving someone could lead to so many things. Should they say that she was a troublemaker, or that her birth characters were too bad? Sima Yue touched her nose. She didn't want this to happen either. Chapter 1457. Sima Yuan and Sima Hishun both believed that some things were destined. Since the Jiang family brought this matter upon themselves, then there is no reason for them to come to us. Sima Yuan said, However, according to the Jiang family's current thoughts, I'm afraid that they will use this as an excuse to make a move on us. Are we weaker than them? Sima Yue asked. The two families are about the same, but their ancestors are a little more powerful than our ancestors. If it really comes down to the final struggle, our ancestors will not stand idly by. This is nothing. As long as our ancestors advance, they will not be our opponents. Sima Yuan said, Yue, is there any problem with that? Don't worry, I went out this time to get the profound moon fruit. After Sima Yue finished speaking, she took out a 10,000-year-old profound moon fruit, which was about the same age as the prize of this competition. Great-grandfather, I think it's better to keep this matter a secret for the time being. We know this. Sima Yuan held the profound moon fruit excitedly. We will find a reliable person to refine the pill. As long as it succeeds, everything will be easy. As long as the Sima family's ancestor advances, the Jiang family and the rest will be nothing. Since this profound moon fruit has been obtained, let me take it back. Sima Hishun said, You have been here all this time. If you suddenly leave, I am afraid that it will cause others to speculate. Sima Yuan also thought so. Then you be careful. I will set off now. You will have to resist the Jiang family for a while. Don't worry, I am the patriarch of the Sima family. With me here, what waves can the Jiang family make? Sima Yuan said confidently. Sima He-shun looked at him speechlessly, thinking that it is because you are here that I am not at ease. However, the Jiang family did not dare to make a move on them now. Even if it was more serious, the Sima family would not be afraid. He was just afraid that Jiang Shui would lead people to internal strife. He glanced at Sima Yue. Perhaps, with her here, Jiang Shui would not dare to say anything. Sima Lu, she was a genius of that lineage. Jiang Shui treasured him very much, otherwise she would not have come over as soon as she got the news. It seemed that he had to make some arrangements before he left. Sima Yue could tell that although Sima Yuan was the patriarch, most of the family matters were still managed by Sima He-shun. No wonder he could say that he would be the successor. After the discussion, Sima Yue sent them out. When she opened the door, she saw Yin Lang being held back by Miao Shihua. City Lord Lang, I know you have the antidote for the 100 days of sleep. Please give it to us. No matter what you want, we will agree to it. Miao Shihua stood in front of Yin Lang. Her words were sincere and her expression was sincere. She looked like a good mother who was worried about her daughter. If she hadn't interacted with her at the beginning, she would have been moved by her expression. However, Yin Lang was not someone who was easily moved. At this time, he had already returned to his usual self. It was impossible to tell that he had run to the mountains to get drunk. He glanced at Miao Shihua and said lightly, since you know that I'm the city lord of Tangerine City, then you should know that you don't have what I need. Get out of my way. After saying that, he bypassed her and walked towards Sima Yue. City Lord Lang, I beg you. I can't live without my daughter. Miao Shihua grabbed Lang Zhong's hand and knelt down at once. City Lord Lang, I beg you, I only have one daughter. She is so talented she can't die. Yin Lang waved his hand and shook her hand off, and said coldly, what does it matter to me whether she dies or not? Get lost. Miao Shihua didn't expect him to shake her off directly. She didn't pay attention for a moment and her whole body was thrown away, and then she fell heavily on the ground. Cough, cough. She choked on the dust that splashed up and kept coughing. If you continue to pester me, it won't be so easy. Yin Lang glanced at her and strode away, coming to Sima Yue's house. Sima Yue looked at him up and down and said with a smile, you still look more pleasing to the eye. Come in. Miao Shihua looked up and saw Yin Lang entering Sima Yue's room. She was so angry that she couldn't help but spit out the blood in her throat. Bitch. She must have told City Lord Lang not to give me the antidote. She cursed bitterly. Madam. A servant girl came over and helped her up. Bitch. Bitch. Miao Shihua stood up and cursed, looking at Sima Yue's closed door with hatred. Madam, this Lang Zhong is too insensible. It's fine if he doesn't want to give you the antidote, but how can he throw you to the ground? The servant girl said discontentedly. Shut up. Miao Shihua shouted at the servant girl, if throwing me once can make him give me the antidote, then it's worth it. Now that he won't give it to us, what should we do? The servant girl was also anxious. Seeing that others were slowly getting better, but Sima Lu, she was still lying on the bed without any reaction. As the young Mrs. Personal servant girl, she was also anxious. Let's go back first. Miao Shihua rubbed her buttocks and said, we must find a way to make him hand over the antidote. Madam, you mean, shut up. Miao Shihua glared at the servant girl, turned around and left with her people. In the room, Sima Yue noticed that the people outside had left and said, it seems that you will still be in trouble. Isn't that the trouble you're causing me? Yin Lang rolled his eyes at her. What does this have to do with me? I'm not the one who forced you to take out the antidote. Sima Yue took out a kind of spirit fruit that was about the size of a grape and put it on the table. This is good for hangovers. Yin Lang didn't stand on ceremony, he took one and ate it, saying, if you detoxified her daughter, she wouldn't have come after me. It's not that I didn't want to detoxify her, it's that she didn't want me to detoxify her. Sima Yue said, later on, Jiang Shui wanted to kill me, why should I save the enemy's granddaughter? I'm not that kind. Aren't you afraid that the Sima family will put pressure on you? What's there to be afraid of? I'm not a member of the Sima family, I'll just ignore them. Sima Yue said, this is the advantage of not going home. Then you don't plan to go back? I still have to go back. Father is still attached to this family. But before I go back, I have to settle this matter. Sima Yue said. How did you suppress the 100 days of sleep? Sima Yu told him the method to suppress it, and also told him a few acupuncture techniques. After she finished, Yin Lang pondered for a while and said, Your method is indeed very strange. Speaking of which, your medical skills are indeed very good. Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. Don't flatter me, tell me, other than wanting to know my method, what else do you want? Chapter 1458. Yin Lang rubbed his chin and said, Was I that obvious? It's too obvious. Sima Yue said, Tell me, what do you want? Actually, I don't want to do anything. I just want to ask you for a favor. Yin Lang said, Is someone dying in your family? Sima Yue asked instinctively. This reaction, no one in my family is dying. Oh, then what do you want me to do? Sima Yue asked. I want you to take a look at Madame He. Yin Lang said. Madame He? The sleeping beauty of Cord City? Sima Yue looked at him in surprise. Why are you so concerned about that Madame He? Susu needs that profound moon fruit. Although she has the ability to win this time, it's impossible for her to cure Madame Chu, Yin Lang said. You want to help her get the mysterious moon fruit? You're such a good uncle. Sima Yue thought that he didn't care about anything when she saw how unrestrained he was. Your medical skills should be amazing too, right? Why don't you go yourself? I've already looked at it, but I haven't figured out the reason either. Yin Lang said it very frankly, without any embarrassment. Even you can't tell? Sima Yue was even more astonished. At the same time, she was curious about Madame He's illness. She doesn't look like there's anything wrong with her at all. She really seems to be asleep. But if it's just sleeping, who can sleep for a few years? That's really strange. Sima Yue wanted to ask if she had also been poisoned by the 100 days of sleep. Most people would not be able to tell that she had been poisoned and would only think that she was sleeping. But thinking about it, if it was 100 days of sleep, he should have been able to tell. Therefore, this reason was also denied. How is it? Are you interested in taking a look? Yin Lang saw that she was interested and asked. Sima Yue glanced at him. You're the one who invited me. It has nothing to do with whether I'm interested or not. However, my fee is very expensive. Are you sure you want to treat me? Any problem that can be solved with money is not a problem, Yin Lang said confidently. Is that so? Sima Yue looked at Yin Lang and said with a smile, You're from the Yin family of the 49th state, right? Yin Lang saw her smile and had a bad feeling. He put his hands in front of his chest and looked at her warily. What do you want? Sima Yue was speechless. What kind of expression was that? If you want me, I can also give in to you. Yin Lang suddenly let go of his hands and looked like he was obedient. But then you'll be my woman. In your dreams. Even if you're willing to lie down, I'm not willing to do it. Sima Yu rolled her eyes at him. I want another condition? Yin Lang's lips twitched. What did he mean by he was willing to lie down? Even if that was the case, he was the one at the top. But when he heard her request, the way he looked at her gradually changed. Isn't your request a little too much? Sima Yue smiled. How can that be? You already said that Miss Susu needs this mystic moon fruit, so this is very important to you. But if you don't have it, I can find other conditions. So, to you, I'm necessary, and to me, you're an option. Are you so sure that you can cure Madame He? Of course not. Sima Yue said. But if I succeed, our deal will be valid. If I can't do anything, then we'll pretend that our deal never existed. Yin Lang was a little hesitant. It seemed that her request was indeed a little too much. Actually, this isn't a pure deal. Sima Yue said. If there's a deal, then there's friendship. You want to be my woman? Yin Lang asked. Sima Yue grabbed a spirit fruit on the table and threw it at him. Other than saying this, he didn't know how to say anything else. Yin Lang caught the spirit fruit and ate it before saying, All right, then tell me, what kind of friendship do we have? If you need it in the future, I'll naturally help you. Sima Yue said. Don't think that I'm not strong now, but one day, I'll become strong too. I don't doubt that. Yinlang said. I've been waiting for you to say this. He already knew about Sima Yue's situation in the outer and middle regions. To be able to grow to such a height in just a few decades, her future was limitless. Now that she said this, as long as both sides didn't have too big of a conflict of interest, they wouldn't be enemies in the future. While she was still weak, helping her was better than adding flowers to brocade when she grew stronger. Then it's settled. When you're free, I'll bring you to the He family. Let's wait first. When the results of the competition are out, someone might be able to solve this problem. Sima Yue said. If we go to sea again, Master He will have to break his promise. Alright, we can wait a few more days anyway. A few days later, the women's competition officially began. In the past, there were many activities for chatting and playing, but now, it was all competitions. Sima Yue wasn't really interested in these, but it wasn't a bad idea to understand the situation of the women in the inner regions. The competition this time wasn't very formal, so there wasn't any difference between the preliminary round and the final round. Everyone who participated only had one competition, and then the final result would be handed over to the judges. The judges would choose the best ranking and announce it, and those who didn't do well wouldn't lose face. These judges were all women of the older generation who were highly respected in the inner region. Just like what Huang Yingying said, one of the judges this time was her childhood friend, who was now the vice sect leader of a sect. There was one competition per day. What was different from the previous years was that the doctor competition, which wasn't paid much attention in the past, was on the first day this time. And the content of the competition was to find a bunch of patients, and every one of them was in a coma. The contestants needed to cure their own patients, and the first one to finish would be the winner. Sima Yue, Yinlang and the Sima family members sat on the viewing platform, and when they saw the patients lying on the ground, the corners of their mouths twitched, saying, "This master He can't be thinking of finding a way to cure his wife from these patients, right? It's very obvious." Yinlang said, "I have some friendship with this He Zhenzhang, and I've seen him and his wife before. It's similar to the rumors outside, he really is someone who loves his wife as much as his life. Now that it's like this, he must be at his wit's end." Sima Yue looked at the grandstand in the center of the opposite side and saw a square-faced man staring at the people competing below, even forgetting to breathe. Seeing that someone had successfully saved his patient, he stood up excitedly and gave orders to the person beside him. That person immediately went down and invited the woman to leave the competition venue. Chapter 1459. Seeing that He Zhenzhang had left, Yinlang patted Sima Yue's shoulder, indicating for her to leave with him. Sima Yue didn't know what he was going to do. After informing Sima Yuan and the others, she followed him and left the spectators' stand. "Where are we going?" she asked after leaving the arena. "Just come with me." Yinlang didn't say much. He took out a token and waved it in front of a guard. The guard was just about to ask what they needed, but when he saw the sign he took out, he immediately became very respectful and said, "How may I be of service to you?" "Bring me to see your patriarch," Yinlang said. Sima Yue was a little surprised. Would he agree to meet the head of the He family at this time? But she didn't expect that the guard didn't even question her and directly said, "Please come with me." Then he led them into a passageway. After walking through the passageway, they were cut off from the clamor outside. Sima Yue tugged at Yinlang's sleeves. When he turned around, she asked, "You and that He Zhen? Master, he don't just have a simple friendship, right? If it was an ordinary person, how could they possibly have such a token?" Yinlang smiled at her. "Don't mind these details." Did you set a trap for me?" Sima Yue asked. "No, you won't fall into my trap for this kind of thing." "I'm telling the truth," Yinlang said. "I don't believe it." "It's true. I really can't do anything about her illness. It's also true that Susu came for the profound moon fruit. It's also true that I asked you for help." "Oh, I understand now. You know that no one else can treat Madame He, so you came to me to treat her as a last resort. After all, I can even suppress the 100 days of sleep, right?" Sima Yue stared at him. Yin Lang chuckled and did not say anything. It was a tacit agreement. Then why did you hide your relationship with clan head He? I won't raise the price because of this. She was a little unhappy. This feeling of being deceived made her feel uncomfortable. I'm telling the truth. However, the master of the He clan is rather straightforward. Although we've only interacted a few times, I promised him that I would help him think of a solution. That was why there was this token. It's also so that I can find him directly once I think of a way. Yin Lang explained, some people can be good friends even if they've only met once or twice. Some people don't feel anything even if they've lived their entire lives. Sima Yue agreed with this point of view. She thought about it and did not dwell on it anymore. When the guard heard the conversation between the two people behind him, he was very surprised. Naturally, he could tell that Sima Yue was a young lady. He thought that she was Yin Lang's servant girl. He did not expect that she was the person Yin Lang found to treat his wife. These guards followed the patriarch and knew a thing or two about Yin Lang. A person who even Yin Lang had to admit defeat definitely had a certain level of strength. At the thought of this, he started to respect Sima Yue. He brought them to a courtyard. The moment they entered, they saw a few women being brought in by the guards. These are the people who participated in the competition. Sima Yue was not surprised to see those women. The patriarch said to let them try. The guards said, with just these people, I think it'll be difficult. Yin Lang shook his head. Old He is really at his wit's end now. When He Zhenjiang came in, he was a little surprised to see Yin Lang here too. I saw you on the spectator stand just now. Why are you here now? I saw that you brought people here and guessed that you wanted them to try, so I came to take a look. Yin Lang also put away his usual sloppy appearance and his eyes were more serious. I'll let them try first. After He Zhenjiang finished speaking, he said to the dozen women in the courtyard, you all finished first in this competition. I think your medical skills should not be low. I'm sure everyone knows about this competition. No matter your ranking, as long as you can save my wife, that 10,000-year-old profound moon fruit will belong to you. Hearing about the 10,000-year-old profound moon fruit, those people were a little excited. It seemed that they were all here for this thing. Patriarchy, don't worry. We will do our best to save your wife. A woman in a white dress walked out and bowed to He Zhenjiang. Can you let us see your wife now? Only when we see her can we know about your condition. That's right. Everyone, please follow me. He Zhenjiang brought them into the house behind him. Sima Yue watched the woman in the white dress walk in with her head held high and said, it seems that she is very confident in herself. To be able to be the first to cure her patient in this competition, it means that she has some skills. However, if she is so confident now, she will be slapped in the face later. Yin Lang sighed. Why are you so sure that she can't? Who knows, he might have a way to cure Madam He. Sima Yue said. See, you will know in a while whether I am right or not. Yin Lang didn't argue with her. Sima Yue didn't understand these people and didn't know about Madam He's illness, so she didn't say anything and waited for the final result. They still need a while. Let's go to the pavilion over there and wait. Yin Lang said and went to the pavilion first. Soon, a guard brought them tea. This tea was not bad, but unfortunately, the technique wasn't good enough, so the taste wasn't very good. Sima Yue drank a mouthful and put it down. This tea is a rare spiritual tea. You can try drinking 2 more cups. Yin Lang drank a cup himself. He was quite fond of this tea. I know. It's a pity that the taste of this tea wasn't brought out to the best. Sima Yue said truthfully. So you are saying that you are quite knowledgeable about tea? A little. Then when are you going to brew it for me? No, I only brew it for my sweetheart. He said that he's not here, so I can't brew it for anyone else. I'm not anyone else. Yin Lang protested softly. Sima Yue glanced at him and said lightly, you're about the same. Was she saying that he was about the same as everyone else? He didn't know why, but when he heard her say sweetheart, he felt a little uncomfortable. This feeling was very strange and he had never felt it before. Because of this strange feeling, he felt a little disappointed. He didn't say anything while waiting. After about an hour, The door opened and the group of women all came out with their heads lowered. Patriarchy, please let me try again and check a few more times. I believe that I will definitely be able to find the reason why Madam is unconscious. Even though the woman in the white dress was begging, she still had a high and mighty look on her face. Chapter 1460. Hearing the woman's request, He Zhenjiang nodded and said, I also believe that you have the strength. You can go rest in the courtyard first. We'll see later. Men, take the girls to rest. 2 servant girls walked over and said, Ladies, please follow us. After those women left with the servant girls, He Zhenjiang walked over and said apologetically, I've kept you waiting. Yin Lang lifted his chin at Sima Yue and said, How is it? Am I right? What? He Zhenjiang was confused. I said that those people couldn't tell the cause of your wife's illness, but she didn't believe me. Yin Lang said. He Zhenjiang looked at Sima Yue and wondered when Yin Lang got together with a woman. Moreover, it was a young lady. Yin Lang, this is? Her name is Sima Yue, Sima Lu Xian's daughter. Yin Lang introduced. Are you that little baby? He Zhenjiang was a little surprised. He immediately felt that he was being too rude. He smiled and said, I've seen you before. Sima Yue stood up and bowed towards He Zhenjiang. Yue greets family head He. My father also said that family head He saved his life back then. If I see him, I must thank him properly. It was just a small matter back then. I didn't expect your father to still remember. He Zhenjiang saw that Sima Yue was very polite and didn't have the temper of a young lady, so he liked her a lot. Yin Lang looked at Sima Yue and shouted, You actually set a trap for me. So the two of you already know each other. Sima Yue glanced at him and said, When did I set you up? This is indeed my first time meeting family head He. Our deal has nothing to do with this, right? What's more, you didn't say that you were close. But, according to your character, even if I didn't look for you, you would still come, right? There's no conflict, Sima Yue said. What did you say? Why can't I understand? It was He Zhenjiang's first time seeing Yin Lang talk to a woman like that. Moreover, the content of the conversation seemed to involve him. Actually, it's nothing much. Yin Lang told him about their deal. He Zhenjiang was shocked when he heard that Sima Yue was here to treat his wife. How could a little girl cure his wife? However, Yin Lang would not joke about this matter. He said that he wanted her to try, which meant that she did have a certain level of ability. I didn't expect Yue to be here to treat my wife. My apologies. He cupped his hands at Sima Yue. Uncle He, you're too courteous. Sima Yue also changed the way she addressed him, and the two of them became closer. Since you're here to see my wife, please. He Zhenjiang knew the purpose of their visit, so he couldn't wait. Uncle He, please. He Zhenjiang brought her and Yin Lang into the room. The moment Sima Yue entered, she saw a beautiful woman lying on the bed with her hands folded in front of her chest as if she was really asleep. She's still the same after so long. Yin Lang sighed. Uncle He must be using ginseng, red fruit, and other precious herbs to keep Aunt He alive every day. Sima Yue continued. In addition to the spiritual power in Aunt He's body, the energy needed to maintain her body is maintained. That's why her body is in good condition. He Zhenjiang was shocked. She was right. How did you know? I smelled it. Sima Yue continued. There's a faint smell of herbs in this room. You just smelled it and you knew? After the shock, he was elated. The smell in the room was very faint. Those people couldn't smell it before, but she could. This meant that her ability was much higher than those people. She might really be able to cure his wife. Uncle He, don't be anxious. Whether it works or not, you have to wait for me to check first. Sima Yue said. Okay, quickly check on her. He Zhenjiang quickly moved aside. Sima Yue sat beside the bed and grabbed Su Lunyan's hand. She inserted her spiritual power and checked again. He Zhenjiang held his breath at the side. He looked at Sima Yue without blinking. Seeing her frown more and more, his heart was slowly disappointed. Those people from before had the same expression. They stood up and said to him, I'm sorry. I'm too weak. I can't tell what's wrong with your wife. Now she was the same. Was he going to be disappointed again? Yin Lang patted his shoulder and comforted him. It's okay. This isn't the first time. He Zhenjiang smiled bitterly. Sima Yue heard him and didn't say anything. She continued to check for a while before standing up. He Zhenjiang was prepared to hear her say that she couldn't do anything. After waiting for a while, she didn't say anything. Yue, how is it? Can you tell? Yin Lang asked first. Sima Yue was still frowning. She didn't shake her head or nod. Uncle He, I'm a little confused. I need to verify it. Sima Yue said. How do you want to verify it? It was good that she didn't say that she couldn't do anything. I need to put my divine sense into Aunt He's sea of consciousness. Sima Yue said. What? Not only was he Zhenjiang shocked, even Yin Lang was shocked. I need to enter Aunt He's sea of consciousness to confirm if my deduction is correct. Sima Yue said, however, the sea of consciousness is too important to a spiritual master. So, I need your permission. He Zhenjiang was hesitant. If there was a problem with the sea of consciousness, it would be the end of this spiritual master. The previous doctors never said that they needed to enter the sea of consciousness to check. Now that she said that, he couldn't make up his mind. Sima Yue understood his concerns and said, Uncle He, you don't have to rush to make a decision. Didn't you organize the women's meeting this time? Maybe someone can solve it later. You can wait until the meeting is over. If no one can cure Aunt He, then you can make a decision. Anyway, we won't be leaving Cord City anytime soon. That's good too. He Zhenjiang still didn't believe in Sima Yue's ability. After all, she was too young. Sima Yue wasn't angry. Who would believe a person they just met, especially a young girl? Then we'll take our leave first. If it doesn't work, I'll come again. Okay, I'll send you out. He Zhenjiang sent Sima Yue out. He waved his hand and the butler walked over. Send someone out to check on Sima Yue. He Zhenjiang ordered. Master, you don't believe her? The butler asked. It's not about whether I believe her or not. If her medical skills are really good, then we can give it a try. He wanted to give it a try, but he was afraid that Sima Yue didn't have the ability, so it was better to check on it. I'll do it now. Sima Yue didn't know about this. She returned to the inn with Yin Lang. Just as they walked into the hall, they heard Sima Yuan's scolding voice. Chapter 1461. Sima Yuan, are you going to hand her over or not? A white-bearded old man shouted, looking at Sima Yuan with a frosty expression. Sima Yuan rubbed his ears and said, Don't shout so loudly, the building is going to collapse. Sima Yuan, don't talk nonsense. Sima Yue killed my grandson. Today, you must hand her over to me. Jiang Yunlong shouted. Your grandson went to kill my great-granddaughter. He was too weak and was killed by my baby. You still have the nerve to ask me for her? Aren't you embarrassed? Sima Yuan said. I remember that your grandson is a few hundred years older than my great-granddaughter, right? Tiske, you still have the nerve to ask me for her. You want everyone in the inner circle to know that your Jiang family can't even catch up with a junior of my Sima family, right? Now that the young one is dead, the old one is here. Tsk, how embarrassing. Even I feel ashamed for you. Don't give me so much nonsense. I'm just asking you, are you going to hand him over? Fuck your sister. Is my precious great-granddaughter someone that anyone can touch? Sima Yuan slapped the table, looking as if he was saying, What can you do if I don't hand it over? Sima Yuan, are you trying to start a war between the two families? Jiang Yunlong laughed coldly. Let's fight then, who's afraid of who? Sima Yuan said unconcernedly, Didn't you want to take over my Sima family since a long time ago? Bring it on then. It's not certain who will have the last laugh. What arrogance. Don't regret it. Regret? When have I, Sima Yuan, ever regretted my actions? Sima Yuan rubbed his nose and flicked his booger into the teacup in front of Jiang Yunlong. Then you'll have to suffer the wrath of the Jiang family. With that, he got up and left with the Jiang family members in a huff. When Sima Yue heard them coming out, She was about to go and meet the Jiang family when her arm was suddenly grabbed and pulled into the alley beside them. Grandma? Sima Yue was surprised by the person who grabbed her. You don't have to talk nonsense with those mad dogs. Huang Yingying said, if you come forward, they will definitely not let you go. Your great-grandfather asked me to wait for you here. With this delay, when they went out again, the Jiang family had already left. Sima Yue entered the inn and saw Sima Yuan sitting on a chair drinking tea. There was not a single trace of worry or anger on his face, and he looked extremely relaxed. Seeing them enter, he even waved at Sima Yue and said with a smile, Yue, you're back. Great-grandfather, why are you back so early? Sima Yue walked over. We came back after you left for a while. There's nothing to see. Sima Yuan said, what did you do? You came back so late. I went to see Aunt He. Sima Yue said. You went to see that sleeping beauty? How is she? Can you treat it? Sima Yuan asked. At this moment, Sima Lu Xian also walked out from behind and looked at her, wanting to know the answer. Her situation is a little strange. It's not something I've encountered before. Sima Yue said, I haven't confirmed the cause of her illness, so I don't dare to make a conclusion now. Even you don't know? Huang Yingying exclaimed in surprise. In the past, they still doubted Sima Yue's medical skills, but after knowing about her, they had a new understanding of her medical skills. If even she didn't know, then she really didn't know the cause. However, everything had a reason, and this illness was the same. So, it wasn't that there was no cause, it was just that they hadn't found it yet. I have some ideas, but I haven't confirmed it yet. Sima Yue said. But Sima Lu Xian asked. The final examination will only be done when we enter her sea of consciousness. I told Uncle He to wait for those people to try before making a decision. Sima Yue said. Now that she said that, everyone understood. Everyone knew how important the sea of consciousness was to a spirit master, so they naturally had to consider it carefully. Then let's wait and see, maybe someone can do it. Sima Yuan said. I have some thoughts too. Sima Yue said, if someone can cure it, I won't have to take this risk. Those people, forget it, you'll definitely have to do it in the end. Yin Lang said. How can you be so sure? Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. Doctors have the most hope, but you saw those people today. The people behind them won't be better than them. Yin Lang said confidently. He was just short of saying that if even he couldn't do it, how could others? I think so too. Sima Yuan said, it seems like Madame He's illness is very serious. Maybe, it's not an illness. Sima Yue said in confusion. Not an illness? Then what is it? What is it? I'm not sure now, so it's hard to say. Sima Yue said, I'll tell you when I'm sure. Everyone looked at Sima Yue, curious about Su Lunyan's illness. If it was a normal illness, she would have said it long ago. But since she said it now, the cause must be too strange. Great-grandfather, the Jiang family, you don't have to worry about the Jiang family, we have our own plans. Sima Yuan said, don't worry, you're my great-granddaughter, no one will dare to do anything to you. Yes, Yue, you don't have to do anything about this. Sima Xiuqi said, wait until we're all down, then you can talk about this. Although you're not in the family tree now, you're still a member of the Sima family, we won't let the Jiang family touch you. That's right. Sima Yue still wanted to say something, but when she saw Sima Yuan's attitude, she felt warm in her heart. Although most people thought that she was very talented and was the hope of the family's future, at least they were protecting her at this moment. Great-grandfather and grandfather also sincerely wanted to protect her. Sima Yue also went to watch the later competitions. After every competition, the top 10 would be asked to leave in advance. During the alchemy competition, she paid special attention to it. Yin Susu, Yi Chuyu and Yang Shi all participated, and they even got the top 3. Yin Lang was very confident in Yin Susu and was sure that the first place would belong to her. The final result was as he expected, the first place was indeed her. Sima Yue saw them being asked to leave and thought that this was probably He Zhenjiang's last hope. However, This last hope was also shattered because He Zhenjiang personally came to invite her. Yue, please help. As soon as He Zhenjiang saw Sima Yue, he bowed 90 degrees to her. Uncle He, please get up. Sima Yue stepped forward to help him up and asked, Uncle He, have you thought about it? Chapter 1462. I've already thought it through. If I don't try, she'll be like this forever. If you try, you might still have a chance to survive. He Zhenjiang said, Also, I already know that your medical skills are indeed very good. Now, I can only hope that you can help me. He did not hide the fact that he had sent someone to investigate Sima Yue. Sima Yue was not surprised at all. No one would believe a person who had no idea what was going on. Since Uncle He has already decided, then let's go. Sima Yue said. Previously, He Zhenjiang was worried that Sima Yue would put on airs. After all, he didn't believe her last time and even sent someone to investigate her background. If it was an ordinary person, they probably wouldn't be so willing. Therefore, when he heard Sima Yue's words, he was both excited and ashamed. Please. He brought Sima Yue to his residence. The Sima family was worried and followed them. Yin Lang also went over very consciously. He Zhenjiang asked the others to stay in the courtyard and brought Sima Yue into the house alone. I had them all try, but no one could see anything, he said. Can you tell me the results of your examination? My idea is a little ridiculous before it's confirmed. I'll tell you after I confirm it. Sima Yue did not dare to make any assertions. Do you need me to do anything? He Zhenjiang asked. You don't have to do anything. You can wait outside. Sima Yue said. He was worried about her entering Su Lunyan's sea of consciousness with her divine consciousness. Similarly, she was worried about doing such a dangerous thing when there were outsiders around. He Zhenjiang hesitated for a moment and nodded, all right. Thank you, Uncle He. Thank you for your trust. He Zhenjiang went out and Sima Yue called out Little Seven. I need your help, Sima Yue said. You, what do you want me to do? Little Seven was very happy that she had something to ask of her. The mist that you condense has the effect of restoring one's consciousness. I need you to protect her sea of consciousness as much as possible when I enter her sea of consciousness. Sima Yue said. That's easy. Little Seven agreed. Sima Yue set up 3 barriers consecutively. Firstly, it was to prevent anyone from ambushing her at this moment. That would not only hurt Su Lunyan, but also her. The second reason was to prevent Little Seven's aura from leaking out. When everything was ready, even Little Seven condensed a faint fog that lingered above Su Liuyan's head. All that was left was for Sima Yue's consciousness to enter her sea of consciousness. Sima Yue stood beside the bed and took a deep breath. This was not the first time she had probed into someone else's sea of consciousness, but it was the most careful she had ever been. She knew that her consciousness was stronger than others, so when she probed into someone else's sea of consciousness, she would not be hurt. She didn't care if the others were injured or not, because those people were already half dead. However, it was different this time. She could not only care about herself, she had to take care of Su Lunyan. If her actions were too big and hurt her sea of consciousness, then she would probably never wake up. She condensed her consciousness and entered Su Lunyan's brain from her forehead. Very quickly, she arrived at her sea of consciousness. Just as she guessed, Su Lunyan's sea of consciousness had become a dead sea. There were no movements at all, as if it was silent. Through her divine sense, Little Seven could also see the situation here. Her sea of consciousness is very strange, Little Seven said. Sima Yue walked around and did not feel any aura at all, as if there were no signs of life. However, Su Lunyan was indeed alive. So, there should be movements here. However, there was nothing here. What happened to her? Little Seven asked. Your aura has spread throughout her sea of consciousness. Do you feel anything different? Let me feel. Little Seven finished her sentence and Little Seven's aura floated in Su Lunyan's sea of consciousness. After a while, Little Seven's aura retreated to the side and slowly condensed into her appearance. I noticed a black area in the depths of her sea of consciousness, Little Seven said. Sima Yue did not feel anything when she checked it previously. Is there anything special there? She asked. I can feel a weak fluctuation from that black thing. Little Seven said. Bring me there to take a look. All right. Sima Yue's consciousness and Little Seven's aura came to the place that Little Seven found. It was in the depths of Su Lunyan's sea of consciousness. They slowly got closer and realized that there was something blocking them outside the black thing. It's this. Look, there's a weak movement inside. It seems like something is trapped inside. Little Seven pointed at the black thing and said, Ghost Clan, Sima Yue said. What? Why did she suddenly mention the Ghost Clan at this time? This black thing has the aura of the Ghost Clan on it, Sima Yue explained. Aura of the Ghost Clan? Why would there be this in her sea of consciousness? Little Seven said in shock. Sima Yue did not answer her because she did not know the answer to this question. She stared at the black thing for a while before saying to Little Seven, Let's go out. After retreating from Su Lunyan's consciousness, Little Seven Sima Yue then opened her eyes. Do you know why she's unconscious? Little Seven asked. It seems like this matter is a little tricky. Sima Yue sighed and kept Little Seven back into the spirit pagoda. She then removed the barrier and opened the door to leave. The people outside had been waiting anxiously for a day and a night, especially He Xinjiang. He did not expect Sima Yue to take so long to check. After such a long time, if she had been in Lunyan's sea of consciousness, how was Lunyan now? Did she get hurt again? He was getting more and more anxious as he waited outside. He wanted to go in and take a look, but when he saw the barrier that Sima Yue had set up outside, he controlled himself. Even the barrier was set up, it meant that the situation inside was not good. If he harmed the two of them because of his rashness, it would be too late for him to regret. The others in the courtyard were also anxious, but they were more worried about Sima Yue. When they knew that Sima Yue was going to enter Su Lunyan's sea of consciousness, they were all shocked. In this situation, if she was not careful, even she would get hurt. However, they could not stop her and could only hope that she would be fine. When she opened the door, the people outside swarmed in. The Sima family heaved a sigh of relief when they saw that she was fine. He Xinjiang was also happy when he saw that she was safe. Does this mean that Lunyan is fine too? Yue, have you found the cause? Chapter 1463. Everyone looked at her, waiting for her answer. The doctors and alchemists who lived in the He clan heard the news from somewhere and all ran over to stay in the courtyard. They didn't believe that a little girl would be able to find the reason for something that even they couldn't solve. They stood at the edge of the courtyard and looked at her, waiting for her to tell them the result. Sima Yue did not expect to see so many people the moment she came out. She frowned subconsciously. Why are there so many people? She was unhappy. The housekeeper behind He Xinjiang didn't wait for him to speak and said, Master, I'll take them down. He Xinjiang waved his hand, and the housekeeper immediately went to invite those people out. When the courtyard was quiet again, Sima Yue said to He Xinjiang, Let's talk inside the house. It's best not to let anyone get close. He Xinjiang didn't need to say anything. The butler immediately ordered people to isolate the courtyard. The Sima family also came in. He Xinjiang didn't say anything. Yue, have you found anything? He asked again. Yes. Sima Yue said. Really? This was He Xinjiang's most emotional moment in the past few years. He grabbed Sima Yue's hand. What happened to Lunyan? Since you've already found out what happened to her, why hasn't she woken up yet? Although I've found out the reason, I haven't saved her yet. Sima Yue said. He Xinjiang was puzzled. Is it because you're too tired? No. Sima Yue shook her head. Before that, I'd like to ask, how did Aunt He fall into a coma? Under what circumstances did he fall unconscious? He Xinjiang recalled for a moment and said, At that time, she went out with the servant girls and encountered a sneak attack. By the time I rushed over, those servant girls were all dead. She was the only one who was lucky enough to wait until I arrived because she had a spiritual jade protecting her. Later on, I used a lot of pills and finally healed her injuries, but she ended up like this. So you didn't see the person who hurt her? Sima Yue asked. I really didn't see anything. But I've never given up on the investigation. He Zhenjiang said, why? Does it have anything to do with his coma? Yes. Sima Yue said, I suspect that the attack had something to do with the Ghost Clan. Ghost Clan? Why is the Ghost Clan involved? Huang Yingying frowned. Because of Sima Lu Xian, the Sima family had the greatest relationship with the Ghost Clan. Similarly, they didn't want to be involved in the affairs of the Ghost Clan. He Zhenjiang was also shocked. From the information he found, this had nothing to do with the Ghost Clan. The reason why Aunt He is unconscious is not because her internal injuries have not healed, but because her soul is held in the depths of her consciousness. Sima Yue said, and the place where her soul is held emits the aura of the Ghost Clan. How could this be? He Zhenjiang was stunned. Is there any way? There is a way, but it's too risky. Sima Yue said, and I need to make some preparations. At least, her mental strength must be at its best. At this moment, she was already very tired and wasn't suitable to treat Su Lunyan. Is it very troublesome? Huang Yingying asked. It's not easy. Sima Yue said, Aunt He's soul is already very weak. Now that it's imprisoned, it's not that easy to rescue her from the imprisonment. Fortunately, my body is special, so I dare to try. If it's someone else, they would be injured as soon as they get close, not to mention rescuing her soul. Everyone understood that she was referring to the blood of the Ghost Clan in her body. How did your wife get involved with the Ghost Clan? Sima Xiuqi asked. No, according to the information we found, it has nothing to do with the Ghost Clan. It only involves some forces in the inner regions. He Zhenjiang said. Which force? He Zhenjiang hesitated and said, 16th State's Yang family. Sima Yue's heart skipped a beat. Yang family? Could it be that Yang Shi's family? Are you sure it's the Yang family? She asked. Based on the current clues, yes. He Zhenjiang said confidently. Could it be that the Yang family is colluding with the Ghost Clan? Sima Yuan said what everyone was thinking. And this was also very likely. But why would the Yang family want to deal with Aunt He? Sima Yue didn't understand. I don't know about this either. I'm afraid we can only find out when she wakes up. He Zhenjiang finished speaking and looked at the person on the bed guiltily. After so many years, he didn't know that her soul was trapped by the Ghost Clan. He had let her down. Sima Yue saw He Zhenjiang's gaze and was moved. Uncle He, you don't have to feel guilty. If it wasn't for your persistence, Aunt He wouldn't have been able to hold on until now. She comforted, I think Aunt He has never blamed you. You don't have to blame yourself. Aunt He wouldn't want to see you like this when she wakes up. He Zhenjiang didn't expect to be comforted by a junior, but her sincere gaze didn't make him feel embarrassed at all. Such a considerate junior, no wonder Sima Yuan treasured her so much. When can you get her to wake up? I need to recover my mental strength. I also need to prepare some pills for her to take when she wakes up. So, I still need some time to prepare. Sima Yue said. Whatever you need, I have it in the storeroom. You can just take it directly. All right. Sima Yue didn't stand on ceremony. Since she was treating his wife, she had to bleed a little. The steward brought her to look for the herbs she needed. Once they arrived at the storeroom, she then knew that the He family was indeed a wealthy family. The storeroom was huge and the collection was rich. She saw many treasures in the storeroom and thought, did the Yang family want to deal with Su Lunyan because he was too rich? Then she smiled. The collection was considered a lot in her eyes, but it might not be in the eyes of others. The Yang family definitely wouldn't deal with Su Lunyan because of this. She brought the steward to take some herbs. She let the steward take all of them and didn't touch any of them herself. She chose the herbs and came to the room that He Zhenjiang had prepared for her. She refined all the herbs into pills. Then she drank some soul wine and meditated to adjust her mental strength to the best state. She came to Su Lunyan's room. Once He Zhenjiang saw her, he stood up excitedly and said, "Can we begin?" Sima Yuyue nodded. Just like the previous time, she chased everyone out of the room. She set up a barrier and called Little Seven out. "Little Seven, just like the previous time, you have to protect her sea of consciousness." Sima Yue said, "There might be a bigger fluctuation, you have to be extremely careful." "Yu, don't worry." Little Seven nodded seriously. Since you wanted to save her, she would definitely cooperate. Chapter 1464. Sima Yue nodded at Little Seven and signaled to begin. She then extended her consciousness into Su Liunyin's sea of consciousness again. When she condensed in Su Liunyin's sea of consciousness, Little Seven's figure also appeared beside her. "Yi go. I will protect her sea of consciousness." Little Seven said. "Yes." Sima Yue flew towards the depths of her sea of consciousness and stopped when she was close to the black ball. She stretched out her hand to touch the invisible barrier. Even though it was a manifestation of her spiritual consciousness, she could still feel a bone-piercing cold. She frowned and didn't continue. Little Seven asked curiously, "Yu, what's wrong?" "I was wrong. This isn't ghost aura, it's death aura." Sima Yue's expression was solemn. "What's the difference?" Little Seven didn't understand. Death chi is something that all dead people carry. Ghost chi can only be found in the ghost realm. Sima Yue said, "To put it simply, the person who attacked Ant he was not from the ghost clan, but a ghost left behind in the human realm." "How is this possible?" Little Seven exclaimed. "It is indeed impossible." Sima Yue narrowed her eyes and looked at the black thing with a dangerous gaze. After a person dies, if the soul is strong, it will not dissipate immediately. Instead, it will enter the ghost realm and live there. It was because there was death energy and ghost energy there, able to grant them a second life. Although those souls would not carry the memories of their lives after arriving in the ghost realm. But at the very least he was still alive. Logically speaking, all souls would enter the ghost realm. If some method was used to control the ghosts here, they would not be able to survive because there was no death aura or ghost aura here. Not to mention, he could even cultivate it to the point where he could injure others. "Yu, are you sure?" Little Seven asked. If this was true, then it was too terrifying. "I can still tell the difference between ghost chi and death chi." Sima Yue said, "However, no matter if it's the chi of death or the chi of ghost, it still has to bow down to me." Those domineering words did not sound out of place at all. It was as if she was a natural king. She stretched out her right index finger and touched the layer of obstruction. The chi of the ghost clan in her body was transferred into Su Liunyin's body. Usually, when the chi of the ghost clan entered a human's body, it would cause the body's body to resist. But Su Liunyin's soul was imprisoned, there was no reaction at all. However, it didn't mean that there was no harm. Su Liunyin's sea of consciousness was invaded by the ghost aura and her brain fluctuated violently. If it wasn't for Little Seven's protection, her sea of consciousness would have withered instantly. Aviwe you use Yu's chi. To Yue Yu's you use it. Why of Yu. Yu. Sima Yu transformed her aura into a large net and quickly trapped the death aura. Yu. With a thought, the big net started to close slowly. Following its actions, the chi of death became lesser and lesser. All of it was absorbed by the big net. As the chi of death became lesser, the black color became lighter. Sima Yue could already see the person trapped inside. She kept her chi of ghost only after absorbing the last bit of chi of death. Little Seven did not need to spend too much effort to protect Su Liunyin's mind. She ran to Sima Yue's side. "This is her soul. It looks so pale." Little Seven looked at the unconscious soul. As she was injured, her soul was only a faint shadow. It looked as if it would disappear at any time. Why isn't she awake yet? Her soul has been imprisoned for so long and she is in a deep coma. It won't be easy for her to wake up. Sima Yue said. "Then what should we do?" "Of course we have to wake her up." Sima Yue said. She flew to Su Lunyan's soul and placed her hand in between her eyebrows. A milky white spiritual power was transferred from her fingertip to Su Lunyan's soul. As the white spiritual power flowed throughout her body, her soul started to solidify. Sima Yue was having a hard time. Little 7, protect her. After Sima Yue finished her sentence, her fingertip shone brightly. Su Lunyan's soul gave out a dazzling light. It was so bright that the two of them had to close their eyes. At the same time, the mind that was as still as the Dead Sea was raging. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. The dazzling light swept across and there were layers of huge waves in the mind. Retreat. After Sima Yue transferred the last bit of energy into Su Lunyan's soul, she pulled little 7 and wanted to retreat. However, at this moment, her sea of consciousness was already turbulent. A huge wave rushed towards them. Sima Yue saw that she couldn't avoid it. She pushed little 7 forward and bore the impact of the huge wave alone. Pfft. In the room, Sima Yue spat out a mouthful of blood. As she could not avoid it in time, most of the blood sprayed onto Su Lunyan's clothes. Yu. Little 7 was pushed out by Sima Yue. She was not injured. When she opened her eyes, she saw Sima Yue vomiting blood and falling off the bed. Before she fainted, Sima Yue remembered to remove the barrier. Yu. The people outside the door heard the screams from inside. When they realized that the barrier had been removed, they quickly pushed the door open and entered. Yue. When they entered, they saw Sima Yue being carried by little 7. There was still blood at the corner of her mouth. She fainted in little 7's arms. Her pale face and frowning eyebrows told of her current situation. Yue. Huang Ying went forward. When she saw Sima Yue in such a state, she was so anxious that she did not know where to put her hands. How did this happen? Sima Yuan was heartbroken. How did she end up in such a state after saving someone? Let me take a look. Yin Lang kept his usual playful expression. Yes, let him take a look. He knows medicine too. When He Zhenjiang saw that Sima Yue had fainted, he was worried and guilty. After he spoke, he glanced at Su Lunyan who was on the bed. It was fine if he did not look, but once he looked, he saw that her eyes were moving. Lunyan. He ran to the side of the bed and grabbed Su Lunyan's hand. Lunyan, you're awake? His voice attracted the attention of the others, but they only glanced at him once before turning their heads away again. Regardless of whether Su Lunyan was awake or not, they only cared about Sima Yue's condition. Yin Lang checked Sima Yue and said, her consciousness was severely injured and she fainted. She'll be fine after taking some pills and resting. When the Sima family heard this, they were relieved. They carried Sima Yue to the bed at the side. Su Lunyan's eyes moved, but she still did not wake up. He Zhenjiang was so anxious that tears almost fell. How did this happen? He looked at Yin Lang. Did she give you a pill? Yin Lang asked. Yes. She did give me pills. He Zhenjiang took out a milky white pill and fed it to Su Lunyan. Su Lunyan, who could only eat liquid food, actually swallowed the pill this time. After a while, the pair of eyes that had been closed for 5 years finally opened slowly. She gave off the feeling of a girl from Jiangnan in her previous life, which was rare in this mainland. At this moment Yin Lang came in. Seeing that Sima Yue had woken up, he said, "You've been sleeping for 10 days. You're finally awake." Sima Yue rubbed her head and said, "Why are you still here?" "Of course I'm here to take care of you." Yin Lang said, "You don't know how many good herbs I've wasted while you were in a coma. You're still in pain after so many days. It seems like your good stuff isn't that great either." Sima Yue attacked him mercilessly. However, she was still grateful to him. She was well aware of the severity of her injuries. If he didn't use so many good things, she would be in even more pain now. After all, it was troublesome to injure one's divine sense. Those things were taken from my storage room. When did they become yours? He Zhenjiang, who followed behind, scoffed. He came to Su Lunyan's side and said, "Didn't I ask you to rest in the house? Why did you come here?" The Sima family left. Of course I had to come over to take a look. Su Lunyan said, moreover, she's my savior. I'll feel bad if I don't do anything when I see her injured. Did something happen to the Sima family? Sima Yue asked. If it wasn't something based on Grandma's character, they wouldn't leave her here. He Zhenzhang was silent for a while and said, something did happen to the Sima family. But it's not very serious. It's just a little dangerous, so I left you here. Sima Yue frowned. His words were obviously contradictory. However, she couldn't do anything in her current state. Where's little Seven? She was still in the house just now. She disappeared in the blink of an eye. Su Lunyan looked around and didn't see little Seven. Sima Yue frowned. Little Seven wouldn't leave her before she woke up. Did something happen to her? Yu. Little Seven ran in from outside. Seeing that Sima Yue had woken up, she pounced over. Yu, you're finally awake. Sima Yue hugged her back and said, where did you go? I heard some movement outside just now, so I went out to take a look. It's fine now. Little Seven said. Is it Grandpa and the rest? Sima Yue guessed it immediately. It's the Jiang family who came looking for trouble. But it's fine now. Don't worry. Little Seven said. Sima Yue responded and didn't ask any more questions. Even Little Seven ran over to help. Was the Sima family's matter a small matter? She was the fuse of this matter, but she couldn't do anything. This made her feel a little guilty. Don't think too much. We're still in Cord City. If something really happened, we wouldn't just stand by and watch. Su Lunyan saw through her thoughts and comforted her. Thank you, Auntie. Now that I'm awake, I won't disturb you. She wanted to go back to the inn to take a look. You want to go back? No matter what happens, I still want to go back. Sima Yue said. No way. Your grandpa handed you over to us when he left. You haven't fully recovered from your injuries. How can we let you leave? If something happens, how do you want me to explain to your grandpa and the rest? He Zhenzhang said. Sima Xiuqi and the rest said before they left that they must protect her. So, they couldn't let her leave He residence now. Yu, don't worry. Little Seven said, the matter has been resolved. Those people have been sent flying by me. Grandma was worried that you would think too much, so she asked me to come back first. Alright, don't think about it. You should recuperate well. Really? When have I ever lied to you? Little Seven pouted. Sima Yue was still worried. Until Huang Ying and Sima Lu Xian came to see her, she really believed that the Sima family was fine now. Chapter 1466. Seeing that Sima Yue had woken up, Huang Ying and the rest were relieved. Yue, how do you feel? I'm fine. Sima Yue said, Grandma, what happened to the family? Now that you're here, how are things over there? It was the Jiang family that came to cause trouble, but your great-grandfather brought people to beat them back. It's nothing. Don't worry about it. Huang Ying said indifferently, what you need to do now is to recuperate. Sima Yue nodded and said, my injuries are almost healed. I'll give Auntie a final checkup in 2 days and then I can leave. All right. Huang Ying said, we have officially fallen out with the Jiang family, and the family does need people. Your grandfather and the others have already gone back. We'll go back once you've recovered. All right. 2 days later, He Zhenzhang and Su Lunyan were not surprised to know that Sima Yue and the rest were leaving. Yue, Chongzhou and Cord City aren't too far away. If you need us to do anything, just send us a message and we'll bring people over immediately. Su Lunyan grabbed her hand and said affectionately, I will. Sima Yue said, maybe I'll have to trouble you. If there's anything, just say it. He Zhenzhang held Su Lunyan's waist. You can say that you saved Auntie's life. We don't have any children, so you are our child. Thank you, Uncle He. Sima Yue was not pretentious. The Sima family's status in the inner circle was a little low. It was good to have more external help. I really envy Lu Xian for having such an outstanding daughter. If our child was still alive, I wonder what she would be like. Su Lunyan said sadly. The dead are gone, Aunt He, don't be too sad. Sima Yue said, "Oh right, there's something I forgot to tell you.
What?
My previous judgment was a little wrong. It wasn't the ghost clan that imprisoned Aunt He's soul." "Not a ghost? But didn't you say that it was done by the ghost clan?" He Zhenjiang was surprised. If the reason was wrong, how could Su Lunyan be saved? "I did sense the aura of death," Sima Yue said. "At first, I thought it was ghost chi used by the ghost clan, but when I went to wake Aunt He up, I realized it was just death chi, not ghost chi." "What's the difference?" Su Lunyan was confused. "The ghost clan's ghost chi comes from the ghost realm, while the death chi comes from the dead." Sima Yue said, "To put it simply, the ghost aura only exists when a soul goes to the world of spirits and spirits. The one who attacked you was just a dead person." "Dead people? How did the dead attack?" "Generally speaking, after a person dies, their soul has to enter the world of spirits and souls to start anew. If you stay in the human world for any reason, you won't be able to cultivate." Sima Yue explained, "But the one who attacked you is already dead, but his soul was left in the human world and he cultivated very well." After seeing her, those people pointed at her, meaning nothing more than that she made such a big commotion before, but the result was the same. Only In Su Su looked at her differently. Sima Yue guessed that it was because the profound moon fruit was already in her hands. They went back to the inn to pick up Mu Si, then they saw Yin Lang when they came out. She didn't see him at the He residence before. Now that he appeared, it should be In Su Su who told him. "Are you sure you want to go with me?" Sima Yue asked. He also knew about the Sima family and Jiang family. If he still followed her at this time, he would inevitably be involved in this matter. "I said, before I understand what kind of feelings you are talking about, I will always follow you." Yin Lang was still the same, as if nothing happened here. "You said it." Sima Yue looked at him. "Then let's go together." Chapter 1467. Chongzhou was one of the biggest cities in Yi County. It was also the city where the Sima family lived. In this city, nearly half of the people were members of the Sima family or were related to this family. The remaining half had to rely on the Sima family. Therefore, the Sima family had the absolute right to speak here. When Sima Yue and Sima Lu Xian arrived, they caused a huge commotion. All the people saw Sima Lu Xian. The genius they were once proud of ended up like this because he got together with the princess of the ghost clan. Seeing those people pointing at Sima Lu Xian, Huang Yingying was very angry. She wanted to get angry, but was stopped by Sima Lu Xian. "Mother, those people didn't do anything wrong. I don't care, so don't take it to heart," he advised. "These people are all on Sima Tu's side. Seeing that your father and I gave up our rights in the family, they dared to be so brazen." Huang Yingying had a straightforward personality. She was furious when she saw those people. "Grandmother, don't be angry. The angrier you are, the happier they are." Sima Yue said, "Since those people are so powerful, they must have a way to detoxify their young mistress. My method of suppressing the poison can only suppress it for 2 to 3 months. Including the time she was poisoned, their young miss only has 2 to 3 months left. They are not in a hurry to take Sima Lu Shi's life. If they want to shout here, then let them." Although she kept smiling, her voice was abnormally cold. Moreover, her voice was clearly not loud, but it spread throughout the entire street, causing those people to stop. No one dared to say another word. Jiang Shui had returned with Sima Lu Shi a few days earlier. What had happened in Chu City had also spread throughout the city. As soon as they heard that Sima Lu Xian's daughter refused to treat Miss Shi, the people here were unhappy and waited for them to come back so that they could embarrass him. Who would have thought that Sima Yue would grab their lifeline the moment she opened her mouth? Currently, only she could cure Sima Lu Shi's poison. Sima Yu saw that they had quietened down and the corner of her mouth curled into a sneer. She continued, "City Lord Lang, I heard that they came to look for you again. Why don't you give them the antidote pill formula so that they won't pester me when we return?" "How can that be?" Yin Lang directly refused. Since I've already given you the pill formula as the most important condition in exchange, I naturally have to abide by the agreement and can't give it to anyone else. Otherwise, wouldn't I become a person who breaks my promise? When did I ask you not to give it to others? Sima Yue asked. Although you didn't ask for it, I did ask for myself. Yin Lang said seriously, I've always been a man of my word, so I can't tell anyone else about this. Sima Yue stared at Yin Lang and sighed. She did not say anything and looked very helpless. The people who heard their conversation became anxious. It seemed like she was the only one who could save Miss Shi. This was really depressing news. Sima Yue held Sima Luxian's hand and Sima Luxian patted her hand. Seeing that she had done all these for him, his heart felt very warm. Although he really didn't care about what they said, he felt that it was worth it to have such a considerate daughter. They walked through half of the city and finally arrived at the Sima family. This Sima family's residence was much more imposing than the Yilin continent's Sima family. There were layers of houses that one couldn't see the end of at a glance. The main door was 100 feet wide and there was a protective array made of gems on it. Even a battle between paragons could not easily damage this door. It's really imposing. Sima Yue stood in front of the door and looked up at the gems on it and exclaimed, Your Sima family's door is even more imposing than our door. It was Yin Lang's first time seeing the Sima family's door. He didn't expect there to be such a magnificent residence in this state. These were built when our ancestors came here. At that time, the family had just arrived here and was stronger. In order to hide the loss of moving, they built such a door. Huang Yingying explained. This door looks a little old, but the gems on it are just put there not long ago. Yin Lang said. Sima Yue glanced at him and said, Let's go. Yin Lang touched his nose. He was just telling the truth. The Sima family and the Jiang family had been fighting fiercely recently. In order to make the protective array strong enough to protect the family, the Sima family did change the spirit stones. The news of Sima Luxian and Sima Yoyue's return shook the entire Sima family. Everyone thought they were going to return to the family. They even got the news that they were outside the door. But after waiting for a long time, they didn't see them come in. Where's young miss? Sima Yuan waited anxiously at home, so he went out to look for them. However, there was no one outside the door. Sima Yue and Sima Luxian were nowhere to be seen. Young Miss said that the Sima family's door is really imposing. But she didn't have an invitation from the Sima family and didn't bring a visiting card. She won't go in today. She will visit again when she has the chance. The guard replied in a trembling voice. When they heard Sima Yue say, Let's go, they thought she was going in. But she turned around and left. The few guards were stunned. Then, someone reacted and asked her why she didn't go in. She gave such an answer. Sima Yuan and the people behind him heard Sima Yoyue's words and the corners of their mouths twitched. She was saying that she wasn't a member of the Sima family and couldn't enter the Sima family's door casually. This little girl, what is she doing now? Sima Yuan scolded. He asked the guard where she left and wanted to go look for her. Don't be anxious. Sima Hishun pulled him back. Yue has her own thoughts. What thoughts does she have? I finally managed to coax her to the door, but she doesn't want to enter. I have to bring her back. She's not a member of the Sima family. Even if you call her, she won't come back. Sima Hishun said, if you want her to come in, the most direct way is to acknowledge Lu Xian and let him enter the family tree again. She will only come back when Lu Xian comes back. She would only be willing to come back when Sima Lu Xian returned to the family. This was something that everyone understood long ago. Sigh. Sima Yuan sighed, then jumped up and said, I'll go and enter their family tree tomorrow. After speaking, he chased after Sima Yue and the others. Where are you going now? Someone called out from behind. To relax. Sima Yuan left without looking back. She wasn't willing to come home now, couldn't he go look for her? In order to let her come home, his heart was broken. It was all Jiang Shue's fault. If it wasn't for them poisoning Yue when she was young, why would she not be willing to come back now? Now they even dared to contact the Jiang family to cause trouble. See how he would deal with them later. Chapter 1468. Sima Yue had guessed that Sima Yuan would come looking for her. Seeing his angry face, she giggled and said, "Great-grandfather, didn't we agree to go back once we've settled the things in the past? It's not like we're not going back. Why are you pulling a long face? The news that you sent back said that you would think of a way to make them jump out, but you didn't say that you wouldn't go back even though you're already at your doorstep." Sima Yuan was depressed. He had been so excited just now. But if I don't stay outside, how can I lure them to make a move? Sima Yue said, "Everyone knows that as long as I go back, you will protect me from all angles. How would they have the chance to do anything? But this is too risky." Sima Yuan looked at her disapprovingly. "Great-grandfather, don't worry. This is your territory. Do you think they can kill me?" Sima Yue was not worried at all. "Don't worry." Sima Yuan's eyebrows furrowed deeply. Seeing that he couldn't get through to her, he felt very helpless. She was really a stubborn little girl. It seemed like he had no choice but to send more people here. Sima Yue understood what he was thinking, but she really didn't want Sima Lu Xian, who had no ability to protect himself, to return to a dangerous family. If he left to look for the divine medicine and Huang Yinying and the others were careless, it would be too late for him to regret. Therefore, she had to get rid of the danger before she returned. "The old ancestor, it's almost done." "That's good. For the rest, we just have to follow the plan." "All right." In a courtyard near the main house of the Sima family, Jiang Shui threw the teacup in her hand onto the floor. The crisp sound made everyone in the room tremble slightly. "That little b***, she actually dares to come here." Jiang Shui scolded. "Mother, she fell into a coma again. Let's go find that little slut again and let her detoxify she." Miao Shihua said, What's the point of looking for her now? If she was willing, she would have done it long ago." Jiang Shui said angrily, "Are we just going to watch she die like this? Mother, she is the hope of our bloodline." "Shut up. You only know how to cry all day long." "What is this?" Jiang Shui shouted. Miao Shihua wanted to cry, but she didn't dare to. She looked weak and incompetent. Where was the arrogant and domineering appearance that he usually had outside? "Then what about she?" Jiang Shui looked at her with disdain. "I just said that I won't beg her. It's not like I won't let her cure she." "Mother, you want to?" Miao Shihua looked at Jiang Shui in surprise. "But, didn't Uncle Hishun not allow us to touch her?" The Sima family doesn't even put us in their eyes, so why should we listen to them? They were heartless to us, so they can't blame us for being unjust." Jiang Shui's eyes flashed with determination. "Mother, do you want to destroy the Sima family?" "I don't think so. However, Sima Yuan has been the head of the family for long enough. It's time for a change." Miao Shihua's eyes flashed with joy. Jiang Shui would definitely not become the head of the household. Wouldn't that mean that the choice of the head of the household would be her husband, Sima too? Wouldn't she be the wife of the head of the household? As long as they became the head of the household, couldn't they let Sima Yue cure she's poison? "Mother, do you need us to do anything?" "Forget about you. With your current appearance, you will only cause trouble no matter what you do." Jiang Shui didn't give her any face at all. "The Jiang family and I will arrange this matter. Just behave yourself and don't give yourself away. You can leave." "Yes." Miao Shihua was dissatisfied with Jiang Shui, but she didn't dare to show it. She bowed to Jiang Shui and then left. No one saw the deep hatred in her lowered eyes. An old woman had always beaten and scolded her, and wouldn't give her any face in front of the servants. When she became the wife of the head of the household, she must return all the grievances she had suffered over the years to her. She returned to her courtyard and saw her daughter lying on the bed sleeping again. Her heart ached. "Madam, what did the old madam say?" The maid who was wiping Sima Lu Xi's hands saw Miao Shihua return and got up to ask. This maid was called Miao Chao. She was Miao Shihua's dowry maid and later became Sima Lu Xi's wet nurse. Therefore, she still had some status in front of Miao Shihua. Mother didn't allow me to beg her. Miao Shihua sat on the bed. She said she has her own plans and doesn't allow me to touch her. What about Miss? Miao Chao said worriedly. Mrs. Body is getting worse and worse. Although she is sleeping, the vitality in her body has obviously decreased. If this continues, I'm afraid that even if the poison is cured, her body won't be able to recover. Miao Shihua reached out and stroked her daughter. How could I not know? It's all my fault for not believing that little bitch at that time. Otherwise she wouldn't have suffered like this. Madam, don't blame yourself. You didn't pay attention to the situation at that time. Miao Chao explained. After all, those things happened back then. If she knew or hated us, she would take the opportunity to take Mrs. Life. That's expected. But everyone else's poison has been cured. Now only she is still like this. Miao Shihua said. Originally, there was still a glimmer of hope. But mother killed her, making her unwilling to cure she. Old madam has a bad temper. We shouldn't have let her know about this. Miao Chao sighed. If it weren't for her, things wouldn't have developed like this. At that time, if we didn't tell the family, how could that little bitch agree to cure those people? Miao Shihua said. I just didn't expect things to develop like this. Then what should we do now? Miss can't hold on for much longer. Miao Chao said with heartache. She asked me to wait. But where do I have time to wait now? Miao Shihua said. No, I have to deal with this matter first. Since it's already like this, it's better to catch her. When the time comes, there will be a way for her to cure Miss. Miao Chao said. But the family head sent a lot of people to protect that little bitch. Mother didn't allow us to touch her. Madam, you forget that we have our own strength. Miao Chao said. Although our Miao family can't be compared to the Sima family, we can still deal with those guards. It's just that Miss can't wait anymore. Miao Shihua looked at her daughter with heartache. For sure, but we can only do this. Chao, go and contact the Miao family's strength here. Bring that little bitch to me in 2 days. Yes, madam. At night, Sima Yue heard movement outside and opened her eyes. It was a bit beyond her expectations that they would find her so quickly. Chapter 1469. Little Seven was lying on the table and sat up when she heard the commotion outside. Yu, are they from the Jiang family? She looked at Sima Yue with bright eyes. Sima Yue sat up and said, I don't know. But they are guests. Since they are here, let's ask them to stay. Sima Yue called out all her beasts. Little Seven alone was not enough in the inner region. Although Yaguang and the others were weaker, 2 of them were enough to fight against one of those people. Sima Yue had set up an enchantment before that allowed people to enter but not leave. It could also isolate the sound of the battle. So, even though the small courtyard was overturned, no one could hear anything from outside. Little Seven and the others caught all of them. There were more than 20 monarch ranked high level. Yu, these people don't seem to be from the Jiang family. Little Seven grabbed a person's hair and lifted his head. She searched his body with her other hand but didn't find anything that could identify him. Hua Hua stepped forward and pulled the person's sleeve. She saw a pattern embroidered on it. There's a pattern here. Miao family. Sima Lu Xian, who came out from another house, recognized the pattern. These people are from the Miao family. Miao family? Miao Shihua? Sima Yue was a little surprised. It seems that Sima Lu Xi's situation made them lose their composure. I thought they would be from the Jiang family. Little Seven threw away the hair in her hand. The person fell to the ground and made a crisp sound. It doesn't matter if they are not from the Jiang family. The Miao family can still be used. Sima Yue said, lock these people up. They will be useful in 2 days. Yaguang and the others took those people down. Sima Lu Xian walked over and said, although the Miao family is not as good as the Jiang family and Sima family, they are still a third-rate force. But these people should be the dowry of Miao Shihua. Miao Shihua and Jiang Shui are on the same boat. It's the same whether the Miao family or the Jiang family comes. Sima Yue said, When I discussed with my great-grandfather, we expected that the Jiang family would wait a few days before making a move. Our plan will be delayed for a few days. Now, we can catch Jiang Shui off guard. According to their plan, Jiang Shui would let the Jiang family deal with her. That would be the time to shed all pretense of cordiality with Jiang Shui. However, at that time, Jiang Shui would also be prepared. Now that they had this, they also had a reason. The next morning, Sima Yue came with her men. She threw him in front of the Sima family's gate, which immediately attracted a lot of people. Go and tell the Sima family head and Miao Shihua to come out and get them, Sima Yue said to the guard. The guard looked at Sima Yue. Although he did not know what was wrong with her, he followed the orders of the head of the family to report her arrival immediately. Very quickly, Sima Yuan and the others rushed over. When Miao Shihua saw the people tied up on the ground, her body couldn't help but tremble. She had already guessed that those people had not returned last night. However, he did not expect Sima Yue to come to his door so soon. Yue, what's wrong? Sima Yuan's eyes narrowed when he saw those black-robed men. Did someone secretly hurt her? However, the guard did not send back any news. Great-grandfather, I'm here to settle the score with Miao Shihua. Sima Yue said, I just came to Chongzhou yesterday and was assassinated at night. I think I have the right to ask for an explanation. These people are? The Miao family. Ye Guang stepped forward and tore off a person's sleeve violently, revealing the pattern on his forearm. Seeing that pattern, Sima Yuan was irritable and shouted at Miao Shihua. You actually sent people to kill Yue? Did you turn a deaf ear to my words? Sima Yuan was really angry. It was fine that Jiang Shui relied on the Jiang family, but this Miao Shihua actually came out to cause trouble for him. After messing up the plan to deal with the Jiang family, they had to redeploy. I didn't want to kill her, I just asked people to invite her to treat Shi-er's illness. Miao Shihua retorted. Do you need so many people to invite me to treat her illness? Sima Yue snorted coldly. Previously, you tried to kill me because you failed to threaten me. If it wasn't for my grandparents who risked their lives to protect me, I would have lost my life long ago. Now that you've sent so many people, I'm afraid it's not as simple as inviting me. Great-grandfather, don't be biased towards her. I must ask for an explanation for what happened last night. What do you want? Of course, a life for a life, a debt of blood for blood. Sima Yue said. You dare? Miao Shihua shouted. Why wouldn't I dare? Sima Yue laughed coldly. You dare to send people to kill me, I will naturally take revenge for myself. This is the Sima family, you can't do as you wish. This is outside the Sima family, my matters are not up to the Sima family to meddle in. Today, even if I want your life, the Sima family won't dare to say anything. How arrogant! Sima Tu and Jiang Shui rushed over when they heard the news, they snorted coldly. Sima Yue, if you want to return to the family, I advise you not to be too arrogant. Someone shouted. Sima Yue glanced at the person who spoke, she didn't know him and didn't care. Mir. She ordered faintly. Everyone felt their vision blur, they didn't even see how Mi-er appeared and how he caught Miao Shihua. When he stopped, Miao Shihua had already been caught and brought to Sima Yue's side. Mother. The man who spoke just now exclaimed in shock. Miao Shihua's throat was choked, her hands instinctively grabbed Mi-er's hands. Let her go. Sima Tu saw his wife being caught and immediately attacked Mi-er. One couldn't tell that he was an infatuated person. Little Seven quickly went up and didn't let him get close to Mi-er and the rest. Sima Tu didn't walk the path of body refinement, his body wasn't very strong. When he fought with Little Seven, she caught him in 2 rounds and brought him to Miao Shihua's side, his throat was also choked. As long as she used a little more strength, he would die. Sima Yue, how dare you? Jiang Shui shouted. When Miao Shihua was caught at first, she didn't plan to show up. This stupid woman, she had already warned her not to act rashly, she didn't expect her to forget her words and even cause trouble for herself. This kind of person who couldn't do anything but spoiled things. If she died, then so be it. However, she didn't expect Sima too to be caught too. This was her precious son, she couldn't help but care. Old witch, why wouldn't I dare? Sima Yue looked at Jiang Shui. I've never been soft-hearted to people who want to kill me. They came looking for me, they can't blame me. After saying that, she wanted to attack me heir and little seven. You're courting death. Jiang Shui quickly condensed her spiritual energy and attacked Sima Yue. Last time, Sima Xiuqi and Huang Yingying protected her. This time, there was no one by her side. Let's see how she could escape. Chapter 1470. Sima Yue stood rooted to the ground as someone moved at that moment. Bang! The spiritual power was deflected halfway and finally landed in a place where there was no one, smashing a huge hole in the street in front. Jiang Shui saw Sima Yuan standing in front of Sima Yue and said with a dark expression, "What do you mean by this?" "I should be the one asking you what you mean." Sima Yuan shouted, "You dare to kill my granddaughter? She wants to kill my son." Jiang Shui shouted, "That's because your son was courting death." Sima Yuan, don't be too biased. This disciple is a member of the Sima family. Jiang Shui said, "Are you sure you want to attack your own family for an outsider?" They were the ones who asked for it. Sima Yuan snorted coldly. Since they dared to lay their hands on others, they should have been prepared to be killed by others. "He's my son, who dares to touch him?" Jiang Shui shouted, "You better let her go or else. Otherwise what?" Sima Yuan interrupted her, "Do you really think that your plans will succeed?" Jiang Shui's expression changed as she asked, "What plan?" Even Miao Shihua's heart skipped a beat. Did they all know? "Didn't you want to kick me out and let your son be the head of the family?" Sima Yuan said, "Aren't you still thinking of getting the Jiang clan to help you, so you're still waiting for the Jiang clan to rush over?" "What are you talking about? I don't understand." Jiang Shui denied. She had indeed sent the news to the Jiang family yesterday. They had also said that they would send someone over. However, it would take some time for them to come over quietly. She thought that she had done it secretly enough. How did Sima Yuan find out? She subconsciously looked at Miao Shihua and saw that she was also very surprised. She knew that she was not the one who leaked it. Could it be that there was a traitor among her people? Don't think about who said it, and don't think about denying it. Since I can say so, I must have evidence. Sima Yuan blocked her words. Since he had already said so, there was no point in her denying it. Jiang Shui, you really... Some of the people who had just heard the news looked at her in shock. They knew that she had always been strong and wanted to show off her abilities. They had always thought that it was because she lacked a man to lead the family, so they had always tolerated her more outrageous behavior. However, this didn't mean that he could tolerate her doing things that were detrimental to the Sima family. Sima Yuan, as the patriarch, you are always unfair and have brought so much trouble to the Sima family. We've sacrificed so much for the family, but we haven't been treated fairly. Why can't we obtain equal rights for ourselves? Jiang Shui said, "That's right. Sima Yuan, you old bastard, you should have given up your position to me a long time ago. Only when I become the head of the Sima family can the Sima family be revitalized and return to its former glory." Sima too suddenly shouted, "When I become the patriarch, I'll send all of you who look down on me to hell." Sima too. Those who had been scolded by Sima too shouted, "You're an evil creature." "I'm an evil creature? They are the ones who are evil creatures, okay?" Sima too pointed at Sima Luxian and Sima Yue. "If he hadn't colluded with that ghost clan bitch, how would our family have been oppressed by other forces? The funny thing is that this old bastard is still protecting them, just because he's your grandson. I heard that when I was in the family, someone poisoned me to death. Did you do that?" Sima Yue asked. "Of course. But I didn't expect that a bitch like you would be so lucky. I used so many poisons, but you didn't die. It seems that you are indeed a demon." Sima too spat. Sima too. Sima Yuan heard him admit that he had done something to the young Sima Yue. He couldn't help but feel angry. "Old bastard, go ahead and scream. You don't have many days left to scream anyway. Sima too dug his ears with his hands. When my mother and the Jiang family kill you, I will be the patriarch of the Sima family. I just need to endure for a few days. Bam. Sima too didn't finish his words because Sima Yuan couldn't control his anger and ran over to punch him heavily. What did you do to him? Jiang Shui shouted. Actually, we didn't do much. We just fed him the truth pill when you weren't paying attention. Sima Yue said, I just wanted to ask if you guys were the ones who tried to kill me. I didn't expect him to say everything that was in his heart. After speaking, she shrugged her shoulders, indicating that this was not what she expected. Jiang Shui, our Sima family has treated you well for so many years. Why are you so heartless? Even Sima He-shun was angry, his words full of disappointment. Treated me well? Sima He-shun, don't you feel that your words are slapping your face? Jiang Shui laughed. If you really treated us well, why would my bloodline be suppressed in the family? Why are you talking so much nonsense with her? With her personality, no matter how much you do for her, she won't think it's enough. Sima Yuan said, let's not talk about what they did in the past. What they want to do now is enough to convict them. Convict them? Jiang Shui looked at Sima Yuan. You guys aren't worthy. Is that so? You're still a member of the Sima family now. See if you're worthy. Capture them. Sima Yuan waved his hand and a group of guards ran out from the main door, surrounding Jiang Shui and the others. Sima Yuan, are you going to fall out with us? Didn't you choose this yourself? Sima Yuan snorted coldly. Jiang Shui looked at the guards and calculated her chances of winning. You're not allowed to capture grandmother. Many people ran out and surrounded Jiang Shui. These people were from this bloodline and they all ran out after hearing the news. They might not care much about Jiang Shui, but her life and death would affect their future. If she died, they wouldn't have a good ending in the Sima family. Of course, part of the reason was because of the power that Jiang Shui had left in their hearts. Sima Yuan looked at the disciples of the family and said, you guys have to think carefully. As the younger generation of the family, I'll give you one more chance. If you insist on being with Jiang Shui, then you won't be a member of the Sima family anymore. If you admit your mistakes now, you'll still be a member of the Sima family in the future. Do you think that without grandmother, you can still stand in the Sima family in the future? Sima Tu's son shouted. Those people looked at each other and hesitated. Chapter 1471. They were just a branch of the Sima family. If they wanted to fight against the Sima family as a whole, they definitely had no chance of winning. However, if there was no Jiang Shui, would there still be a place for their branch in the Sima family? Thinking about what they had done in the past, the answer was obvious. One was to die now, the other was to drag out an ignoble existence. They didn't know which to choose. Who dares to touch my aunt? A shout was heard. Everyone looked over and saw Jiang Yunlong leading a group of people over from the streets. Sima Yue looked at Jiang Yunlong. She seemed to remember that this person's seniority was about the same as her great-grandfather's. Jiang Shui was actually his aunt. It seemed like her position in the Jiang family was quite high. Sima Yuan, Jiang Shui is my Jiang family's aunt. Don't you dare touch her. Jiang Yunlong came to Jiang Shui's side and confronted Sima Yuan. Jiang Yunlong, this is my Sima family's territory. Sima Yuan was a little surprised that the Jiang family would come so quickly. It seemed like they had spent a lot of money in order to get the Sima family. He glanced at the direction they came from without a trace. They dared to come in so brazenly, so there should be more than just these few people. It's your Sima family's territory now. In a while it won't be. Jiang Yunlong said. You want to swallow us? That depends on whether you have the ability to do so. Sima Yuan looked at them disdainfully. Sima Yue looked at them a little bored. These people always liked to chatter before a fight and say a bunch of nonsense. Wasn't it to show others that they were powerful and right? But it was useless. It seemed like she had to do something fierce. Little Seven and Mi knew what she was thinking. She hadn't given the order, but they had already taken action and killed the people in their hands. That was because they were getting impatient from waiting. The two of them threw the lifeless people on the ground at the same time and wiped their hands in disgust. Disciple. Father, mother. Grandfather, grandmother. Even the Jiang family members were stunned. Sima Tu and Miao Shihua really died just like that? They didn't dare to believe it. Sima Tu and Miao Shihua had never thought that they, the all-powerful figures in the 64 prefectures, would die just like that. Since you dared to lay your hands on Yu, you should have been prepared to die. Little Seven said as she kicked Sima Tu's corpse back. He didn't even let off a newborn baby, he deserved to die. Mi Er learned from Little Seven and kicked Miao Shihua's corpse back. When Jiang Shui saw that her precious son had been killed and his corpse had been humiliated, she lost control of her anger and attacked Sima Yue. Sima Yuan was originally standing in front of Sima Yue, so he naturally went forward to welcome her. As soon as the two of them moved, it was as if the horn of war had been blown. The three sides quickly engaged in battle. Sima Yue retreated far away under the protection of her beasts and watched them fight. With so few people, they definitely won't be able to hold on for long. Ye Guang said, that might not be the case. For the Jiang clan to come all the way here, they definitely have something to rely on. Thousand Resonance said, sometimes, it's not the number of soldiers, but the quality. Is it the old ancestor of the Jiang clan? Thousand Resonance didn't say anything else, which meant that he agreed with Ye Guang's guess. The old ancestor of the Jiang clan was much stronger than the average person. For someone like him, he could fight against half of the Sima family. This was why even if there weren't many people, the more experts there were, the stronger they would be. The old ancestors of the two clans were on the verge of advancing, but the old ancestor of the Jiang clan was slightly stronger than the Sima family's old ancestor, so the Jiang clan had always been above the Sima family. Sima Yue looked at the Jiang clan who kept joining in. She guessed that Jiang Yunlong was at the front, and there were still many people rushing over. Little brat Sima, you dare to kill my Jiang clan's people. An angry roar was heard, shaking many people to the point that they spat out blood. Old ancestor! The Jiang clan members saw who it was and shouted excitedly. Sima Yue was also shaken to the point that her blood was boiling, but luckily Mi Er helped her block a lot of it, so she wasn't injured like the others. This is the old ancestor of the Jiang clan? She clutched her chest and grimaced. He looks like a scoundrel, he really looks like the Jiang clan's people? Jiang Ping flew over from afar and landed beside Jiang Shui. Father, you're here. Jiang Shui looked at Jiang Ping excitedly. I came after receiving your news. Jiang Ping looked at his little daughter lovingly. Father, your disciple was killed by them. Jiang Shui held back her tears. At this moment, she was no longer the powerful old ancestor, but the little daughter in front of her father. Don't worry, as his grandfather, I will definitely avenge him. After Jiang Ping said that, he looked at Sima Yuan and said, you killed my Jiang clan's first son before, and now you've killed my grandson. We won't be kind today. Sima Yuan looked at Jiang Ping with disdain. Jiang Ping, isn't your Jiang clan just coveting my Sima family and wanting to take our family's assets for yourself? Do you have to make it sound so dignified? You're really acting like a prostitute trying to build a monument to her chastity. Impudent! Jiang Ping shouted, and unreservedly suppressed Sima Yuan. Sima Yuan, Sima Hishun and the others resisted together, but they were all suppressed by the pressure. Jiang Ping, as the old ancestor of your clan, you came to my Sima family to kill my clansmen. Aren't you a little too arrogant? A gentle voice sounded. It clearly gave off a peaceful feeling, but it easily dispelled Jiang Ping's pressure. Asterisk 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 asterisk. You've advanced in rank? Jiang Ping could feel his strength just from the pressure. Sima Yue looked up and saw a figure appear from the Sima family in the blink of an eye. Asterisk 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 asterisk. The old ancestor of the Sima family. It was said that he had lived for a few thousand years. Other than the white hair near his ears, The rest of his hair was still black, and there weren't many wrinkles on his face. If it wasn't for the vicissitudes of life in his eyes, one wouldn't be able to tell that he was any different from an ordinary person. He was dressed in white, which made him look elegant and refined. You, this old ancestor of yours is a little showy. Little Seven said softly. I think so too. Sima Yue agreed. At least, he's a narcissistic person. The two of them spoke very softly, but it didn't escape the old ancestor's ears. He turned his head and smiled at Sima Yue, and the word flirtatious immediately flashed past her mind. Damn, was this an adjective that an old ancestor of a clan should have? Let's not talk so much, let's fight to determine the winner. After speaking, he flashed to Jiang Ping's side, grabbed him and flew into the sky. Chapter 1472. Book title, Chapter Let's Talk Quietly. Author Sima Qing pulled Jiang Ping into the void. The people on the ground could only hear the occasional rumbling above their heads. The situation of the battle above them was unclear, but the people on the ground were not idle either. They started fighting again. Jiang Yunlong brought a lot of people, but compared to the Sima family, there weren't many people. Including Jiang Shui, there weren't many people. At first, the people of the Jiang family believed that their ancestor would defeat the ancestor of the Sima family. However, the old ancestor of the Sima family actually advanced. This had far exceeded their expectations. Even their old ancestor had not advanced, so how had he advanced? No matter what the reason was, the result was the same. Despair gradually rose in the hearts of the Jiang family. Without the ability to fight, the battle quickly ended. The people of the Jiang family and Jiang Shui's branch were either killed or captured. Jiang Yunlong was seriously injured and was protected in the center by several guards. Although he was not caught and still tried to resist, he was surrounded by the Sima family and could not move. Sima Yuan, don't think that you've won just like this. As long as the old ancestor returns, all of you will be dead. You're still daydreaming at this time. Sima Yuan was also a little injured, but he was much better off than Jiang Yunlong. Sima Yue then walked out from the protection of the beasts. Sima Lu Xian, Mu Si and the others were still in the center of the beasts, so they were not afraid of the Jiang family's counterattack. Great-grandfather, eat some pills first. She walked over and took out some pills for Sima Yuan. Sima Yuan ate the pill and the turbulent aura in his body calmed down quite a bit. Sima Yue turned to look at Jiang Shui and said, although it was Sima Tu and Miao Shihua who attacked us, I think you must have given them some hints, right? Jiang Shui turned her head to the side and did not look at her. How dare a junior hamster look at him with such a gaze? Sima Yue did not care about her attitude and said, it's a pity that you can touch some people but not others. After saying that, he turned around and left without waiting for her reaction. The process of waiting was long. Not much time had passed, but in Jiang Yunlong's eyes, it felt like centuries had passed. On the other hand, Sima Yuan and the others were very relaxed. What was there to worry about when the outcome was already set in stone? In less than half a day, Sima Qing came back alone. The final result was self-evident. Sima Qing glanced at Jiang Ping and the rest and said, deal with them properly. Then he grabbed Sima Yue's shoulder and disappeared in front of everyone. Master. Yeah. Mu Si and the beasties shouted when they saw Sima Yue disappear. Don't worry, old ancestor won't do anything to her. Sima Yuan comforted her. Once they're done talking, they'll naturally return. Really? Mu Si was still very worried. Of course, when have I ever lied? Sima Yuan slapped Mu Si's head. He was a little angry that Mu Si didn't believe him. Clean up the mess. He roared at his family and then went in with his hands behind his back. There was no need for him to do these things. Sima Lu Xian also went in. After what happened today, no one dared to have any ideas about him. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that Sima Yue was the catalyst in today's matter. If she didn't bring the Miao family over, Jiang Shui and the others wouldn't have come out. If she didn't kill Sima Tu, Jiang Shui wouldn't be angry and the Jiang family wouldn't be drawn out. The Jiang family had been coveting the Sima family all these years. The Sima family also wanted to get rid of the hidden danger that was the Jiang family. However, no matter who made a move on who, they needed an excuse. And she created such an excuse for the Sima family. With such a powerful daughter, even if Sima Lu Xian didn't have any spirit power now, they wouldn't dare to provoke him. Sima Yue was brought to the back mountain of the Sima family by Sima Qing. Other than Qi Yan, she didn't have any other beasties by her side, but she wasn't worried about her own safety. "Why did you bring me here?" she asked. "So rude, you didn't even call me old ancestor." Although Sima Qing said so, he didn't care very much. "I'm not a member of the Sima family now." Sima Yue snorted. She wasn't a member of the Sima family, so he wasn't her old ancestor. "Little guy, you care a lot about what happened back then." Sima Qing said. "Of course I care. If it wasn't for those things, our family of 3 wouldn't have been separated for so many years, and I wouldn't have grown up alone." Sima Yue said. Although she was already 15 years old when she came into this body, the hardships along the way were not something that ordinary people could understand. "There are some things that we can't go against reality." Sima Qing said, "I told your father that back then, but he didn't listen to me." Sima Yue didn't want to talk about what happened back then with him. Those things had already happened, and it couldn't be changed. It was useless to talk about it. "Why did you bring me here?" "Of course I brought you here to acknowledge your ancestors," Sima Qing said seriously. Sima Yue looked at him with narrowed eyes. "Do you know my condition?" "Isn't your condition him?" Sima Qing looked at the people walking down the mountain. Sima Yue looked down and saw Sima Yuan bringing Sima Lu Xian over. This meant that they wanted to add her and her father to the family tree. "And my mother," she said. Sima Qing agreed without hesitation. "Why didn't you bring my father along?" she asked. "Naturally, we have a little secret to talk about." Sima Qing looked at her mysteriously. She subconsciously took a step back and stared at him warily. "What do you want to say?" "Actually, it's nothing. I just wanted to ask you, are you willing to take over the Sima family? I believe that as long as you are willing, the Sima family can flourish in your hands." Sima Qing looked at her expectantly. "I'm not willing." Sima Yue rejected. Although the Sima family is not very strong, they still have a place in the inner regions. "I don't want that either." Sima Yue shook her head firmly. "You old foxes, don't expect me to take over your mess. I don't like to care about those chores." Sima Qing pursed his lips. "Mess? Chores?" That was how she described her own family. But she was the only one among the younger generation that he liked. Sima Yue was afraid that he would really put the burden on her and said, "I know that you all want the family to be stronger. If there is something that I can be of use to you, I will try my best. But don't expect me to take over. Otherwise, when the time comes and I leave, you won't be able to find me." "You're not interested at all?" "I still have my own things to do. I can't spend my time on the family." Sima Yue said, "After father's injury is healed, I will look for mother. This is something that has been planned for a long time. Think about it. Do you really think it's good to hand the Sima family over to me?" Chapter 1473. Was it really good to hand over the Sima family to her? They had never thought about this question. When they knew about her talent and ability, they only thought that there was hope for the revival of the Sima family. But they never thought about it. Was it really good to hand over the Sima family to her? With her luck, she would definitely experience a lot of things in the future. She also had a lot of things to do. Handing over the Sima family to her would definitely restrict her footsteps. Actually, to help the Sima family revive, you don't have to take it over. Sima Yue continued. The current head of the family is great-grandfather, but isn't great-uncle He Shun the one who is really managing the family? Sima Qing looked at her and was sure that she really didn't want to. He sighed and said, "Why is your personality the same as your father?" "I'm my father's child." Sima Yue knew that he was giving in by saying this, so she smiled. "Don't laugh. This matter hasn't been decided yet. Sima Qing said, "They're here, let's go." Sima Lu Xian and Sima Yuan came up and bowed solemnly to Sima Qing. "Old ancestor. How embarrassing, you've made yourself like this." Sima Qing looked at him with his hands behind his back. "Just stay in the family in the future, don't think about these things." Sima Lu Xian bowed slightly, neither saying nor denying. Sima Yue pursed her lips. This guy, he obviously wanted her father to be safer at home, but his words were so smelly. "Let's go." Sima Qing brought them into the spirit barrier. There was nothing at the top of the mountain, but there was a majestic ancestral hall. The door of the ancestral hall was the same as the door of the Sima residence, but this was a smaller version. Sima Qing came to the ancestral hall and stood in front of the stone lion. He reached out and pressed on its left eye, and the door of the ancestral hall opened automatically. "Let's go in." Sima Qing and Sima Yuan walked in first, Sima Yue and Sima Lu Xian followed behind. The moment they entered the door, Sima Yue felt a force stopping her, and then something seemed to be scanning her. "Only those who have the bloodline of the Sima family can enter here," Sima Lu Xian explained. "Then why haven't people like Mother come in before?" Sima Yue asked curiously. "They came in through another tunnel. In that passage, as long as you have the aura of a man from the Sima family, you can do it." Speaking of this, Sima Lu Xian's face turned slightly red. Alright, now she knew what that aura meant. They passed through the courtyard and came to the center of the ancestral hall. Before they could push the door open, it opened from the inside. Patriarch, old ancestor, young master Lu Xian, young Mississippi, a stooped old man came out from inside, bowed to them, then turned and left. "This is the guardian of the ancestral hall. His strength is not lower than the patriarch's." Sima Lu Xian didn't introduce that person to Sima Yue, but she could hear his respect for that old man from his few sentences. Sima Yue guessed that this old man must have a high status in the family. Otherwise, he would not have left after giving a bow. They entered the ancestral hall. The huge ancestral hall was filled with memorial tablets. At a glance, there were probably a few thousand of them. These memorial tablets are the memorial tablets of the direct descendants. The collateral descendants are not qualified to enter here. Sima Lu Xian said. "Then where are they?" "There are several auxiliary ancestral halls next to it. The important people in the family are in that ancestral hall." While Sima Yue was explaining, Sima Qing lit a few incense sticks and distributed them to everyone. Then he led them to offer incense to the ancestors of the past. Sima Yue was the youngest in the family, so naturally, she was the last to offer incense. When she placed the incense on the incense table, she suddenly felt like a lifetime had passed. The moment she placed the incense on the incense table, countless scenes flashed in front of her eyes. It was as if she saw the prosperity and decline of a family. At this moment, she felt like she was a member of this family. The blood in her body seemed to be surging. After a long time, Sima Qing brought them to the side of the anteroom. Although it was called an anteroom, it wasn't small. It was just much smaller than the ancestral hall. Sima Qing took down a brocade box from the wall and opened it. There were many rolls of brocade in it. He took out the largest brocade and injected spiritual energy into it and threw it into the air. The brocade flashed with golden light and slowly opened. It was about the size of a wall. It was densely filled with names. Sima Qing pointed at one of the places. The words in that area were enlarged. Sima Yue saw many familiar names. For example, Sima Yuan, Sima Hishun, Sima Lu Xian, Sima Lu Feng, Sima Lu Yun and Sima Yifei. There was a blank space beside Sima Lu Feng. Sima Yue guessed that it was her father's position. As expected, Sima Qing got Sima Lu Xian to bleed. He took out a brush from the box and dipped it in his blood. He wrote his name in the blank space. Then he pulled out a line and wrote, "Wife Yukuluo." He pulled a line between him and Yukuluo and wrote, "Daughter Sima Yue." After that, he even got Sima Yue to squeeze out a drop of blood and dripped it on her name. Sima Yue watched as her blood seeped into the brocade. She thought that she had really returned to her family. She too was someone with a family. This was different from the family that Sima Lai and the rest gave her. At that time, there were few people and simple relationships. Everyone only doted on her. But the family had a long history. There were many branches and they were more united. Sima Lu Xian watched as his name appeared on the genealogy again. His emotions were fluctuating. Things were the same, but people were different. Just when Sima Yue thought that it was over, a gentle force came from the genealogy and enveloped Sima Yue. This is... The three of them were shocked. Family inheritance. Sima Qing murmured, "How many years has it been? The genealogy has released the power of inheritance." Family inheritance? Sima Zhiyuan and Sima Lu Xian knew about the existence of inheritance, but it was their first time seeing it. Shock could be used to describe their feelings. Sima Qing sighed. If Sima Yue was added to the genealogy, this scene would have happened decades ago. If they knew about this earlier, they wouldn't have let her leave the family. Even if there was pressure, they would have kept her and nurtured her well. The gentle light spread out quickly, passing through the walls and spreading out from the ancestral hall. The people in the family were enveloped by that power. That gentle power made them feel comfortable all over. It was as if something was sprouting in their minds. "Feel it." Sima he exclaimed softly and said to the people around him, "Feel it on the spot." When those people heard it, they all sat down cross-legged and tried to grasp the sprouting in their minds. More and more people closed their eyes to feel it. At this moment, the entire Sima family seemed to have quietened down. Something was quietly changing. Chapter 1474. Not only the Sima family members, even the outsiders felt the change in the Sima family. The people on the street all stopped and stared. They felt a force that calmed their irritable hearts. In the ancestral hall, Sima Yue had her eyes closed the whole time. Her face was calm, and all the anger from the battle had dissipated. After an unknown amount of time, the power finally entered her body. The moment she opened her eyes, the power that enveloped the Sima family also entered their bodies. Everyone opened their eyes. Their gazes were even brighter, and they were even more spirited. Some of them had entered a state of enlightenment at that time and had yet to awaken. Some were already strong enough, but because they didn't have enough comprehension, they couldn't advance. This time, with the power of the inheritance, they had gained insights and naturally advanced. All of a sudden, many courtyards of the Sima family emitted the light of advancement. In the ancestral hall, Sima Yue was also leveling up. This time, her strength did not increase by much. She had only leveled up from Monarch Level 1 to Monarch Level 2, which was still within the range of Gentleman level. When she advanced, the tribulation clouds in the sky began to condense. When she finished her advancement, she didn't have time to say anything to the three people in the room. She flew out and only stopped when she was far away from the ancestral hall. For some reason, the cloud spirit did not go easy on Sima Yue this time. Fortunately, her body had been tempered to be very strong, so she could withstand this level of lightning tribulation. Everyone in the Sima family saw her transcending the tribulation here. Many of them were surprised when they sensed the familiar aura. Her aura was in the power that she made us feel earlier, right? Why would she let us comprehend it? No matter what, we have to thank her. Is she really the family's lucky star? As soon as he came back, he solved the Jiang family's problem and made us all realize something. Who knows, she might really be able to revive the family. Is there really hope? The people below were discussing animatedly, but Sima Yu couldn't hear them from the mountain. This time, the cloud spirit was exceptionally ruthless. She didn't have the energy to observe her surroundings. Moreover, she hadn't made any preparations this time. The lightning-proof items that she had taken out at the last minute were just a drop in the bucket. She had to completely rely on her own body to withstand it. When the last bolt of lightning struck, the cloud spirit did not leave. Sima Yue lay on the ground. She did not even have the strength to move her fingers. Her body was charred black and she looked no different from being roasted. The beasts had rushed over a long time ago, but she made them wait outside. Now that the lightning tribulation was over, they all ran over. "Yu, are you okay?" Little Seven ran over and saw that Sima Yue was seriously injured. She screamed, "Yu, how did you become barbecued meat? Did you put salt in yourself?" There is indeed the smell of barbecued meat. Even Thousand Resonance and the others couldn't help but tease. Sima Yue rolled her eyes. The moment these guys realized that their lives were no longer in danger, their naughty nature was revealed. "That's strange. Cloud Spirit, why did you strike so hard this time?" Little Dream was puzzled. She looked at the Cloud Spirit that had not left and asked curiously. The Cloud Spirit snorted. "These guys finally noticed it. It's not that I struck too hard. It's because her advancement this time involved many things. It's related to some things in the future. I can't cover this up. However, I still went easy on her. Otherwise, with her body, she might not be able to withstand it." The Cloud Spirit explained proudly. Sima Yue was shocked. She had just advanced a level and it was a very small one. How was it related to the future? Could it be because of the... Thinking about the thing that she had just obtained, she was speechless. This lightning strike was really an unexpected disaster. After the Cloud Spirit explained, it patted its butt and left. If it wasn't for their good relationship, it wouldn't have especially stayed to explain this. Sima Yuan and Sima Qing ran over. Seeing her charred black, their expressions were a little strange. Why was she always struck by lightning? Could it be that she had done too many bad things? "Let's bring her back first," Sima Qing said. "Ji Yuan, you do it." Sima Yue didn't understand why he stepped aside and let Sima Yuan carry her when he was clearly beside her. Little Seven and the others wouldn't let anyone carry her, so they volunteered to carry her. The moment she turned around, she heard Sima Qing's muttering behind her. "She really turned into a little charcoal. If I carry her, she'll turn into charcoal too, right? TKSK, she'll dirty my clothes." If Sima Yue had the energy, she would definitely jump up and scold him. "You're an old guy who's thousands of years old. Do you have to be like this?" Little Seven carried Sima Yue and under Sima Yuan's guidance, they arrived at the courtyard that had been prepared for them. The Sima family saw Little Seven carrying a piece of charcoal and guessed that it was her. She was struck so hard. Someone said, "Such a good girl turned into charcoal. How pitiful." "Exactly. I don't know if she can recover. I heard that she would be struck by lightning every time she advances in rank. Would she turn into charcoal every time? So pitiful." Sima Yue was speechless again. Why were the Sima family members the same as Sima Qing? Couldn't they just have fun? Huang Ying and the others felt their hearts ache when they saw Sima Yue like this. They heard that she was struck very badly the last time in Fair Eastern City, but they didn't see it with their own eyes. So although their hearts ached, it wasn't as intense as this time. "Yue, are you okay?" Huang Ying asked. Sima Yue blinked at her, indicating that she was fine, but it made Huang Ying's heart ache for a while. If she was really fine, why couldn't she even speak? Yin Lang, who had been following her today, rubbed his chin when he saw her like this. He said thoughtfully, "You're so ugly now. Should I continue to follow you?" Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. Her meaning was clear. "I never wanted you to follow me. If you don't like it, then get lost." Yin Lang smiled when he saw her gaze. This was the first time he felt that a girl could be so cute when she rolled her eyes. Sima Yue was unhappy because she was surrounded by people the entire way. She threw a tantrum when she was unhappy. Other than Huang Ying, Sima Lu Xian and the others, no one else was allowed to enter her place. However, the Sima clan had indeed been rather busy recently. Although Jiang Yunlong and Jiang Ping had been killed, there were still many things that needed to be done in the Jiang clan. Furthermore, Sima Tu's branch still needed to be dealt with. So, after 10 days, everyone thought that she was still recuperating, but she had already recovered for a long time. Chapter 1475. When the Sima family was preparing for the final battle with the Jiang family, Sima Yue was soaking in the huge library alone. Pin Book Network. Just as Huang Yingying and the others had said before, this library was very big, and there were a lot of books inside. There were even a lot of unique books. It could be seen that a long time ago, the Sima family was indeed a very powerful family. Unfortunately, it was gone now. The door to the library opened. The person scanned the place and knew where she was. Sima Yue looked at the person who came, put down the book in her hand and asked, Why are you here? I went to your courtyard. Uncle Lu Xian said that you knew you were here, so I came over. Sima Yun said, Why did you come to the library the moment you returned to the clan? I'm here to see if there's any way to restore father's powers. Sima Yue said, The longer this drags on, the more disappointed father will be. That's true. Sima Yun came to her side and sat down. She picked up the thick book beside her and said, I'll go with you. How do we find them? All right. Sima Yue thought that one more person meant one more helping hand, so she told her the key words. She might not be able to understand those medical books, but if she could read, she would be able to see the key words. Sima Yue stayed in the book collection pavilion for a few months. Sima Yun and Sima Chi worked together to flip through all the books in the book collection pavilion. Sima Yue finished reading the last medical book and slammed it shut. As expected, there isn't. She sighed. It seemed that Wu Lingyu's suggestion was the only way now. Yu, don't be discouraged. There will definitely be a way. Sima Yun comforted her when she saw how dejected she was. That's right. Yue, if there aren't any books here, there must be some elsewhere. As long as we persevere, we can definitely do it. Sima Chi also agreed. Sima Yue smiled at them and said, You two have been staying here with me all day. How is the situation outside? It's nothing much. It's just that our family has completely settled the matter with the Jiang family. In the future, the Jiang family won't appear in front of us anymore. Sima Chi was in a good mood when she said this. It is indeed good news. However, without the Jiang family, there will be other families like the Li family and the Wang family. Sima Yue said, If you want the clan to be safe, you still need to be strong. Sima Yun said, Speaking of this, everyone is saying that you are our clan's lucky star. I'm not a lucky charm. How did I become the family's lucky star? You're the family's lucky star. Sima Chi said, The moment you came, you cured us of the 100 days of sleep poison. The Jiang family's matter has been a headache for the family for a long time. In the end, you just came back and gave us an opportunity. Then, you found the profound moon fruit and let the old ancestor advance, allowing us to survive the Jiang family's matter. And as soon as you entered the genealogy, you received the family's inheritance. You also helped many people in the family who were trapped in the bottle to advance successfully. Tell me, if you're not our lucky star, then what are you? Sima Yue looked at her worshipful face and smiled. Things are not as mysterious as you say. It's just a coincidence. No matter what, you did bring a lot of benefits to the family when you came back. Sima Yun said. By the way, Yue, what is the family's inheritance you received? Can you tell us? Sima Chi asked curiously. Chi, don't mess around. Sima Yun scolded softly. What's wrong with that? If I can't say, Yue won't tell us. She won't be angry. Right, Yue? Sima Chi said with a grin. But, Yun, aren't you curious? Sima Chi interrupted her. Sima Yun pursed her lips. She was curious too. But Patriarch and the others had never asked Yue about this. How could they ask her? Actually, there's nothing that can't be said. Sima Yue said, At that time, I received a power and a set of spirit skills. Speaking of that power, Sima Yun and the others were more touched, because both of them had comprehended a lot of things from that incident. Our inheritance is actually a set of spirit skills? Sima Chi was surprised. Our ancestors did use a set of spirit skills to conquer the world. But later on, it slowly became what it is now. Sima Yun sighed. What is that set of spirit skills? Actually, that spirit skill is fusion. Sima Yue said, It's just that our family used to have many beast tamers, so there were many spirit beasts. Relying on spirit beasts and fusion, our battle power was much higher than others. Because of that, we used to be all-powerful. Could it be that our decline is due to the lack of beast tamers? Sima Chi guessed. Not only that. Sima Yue said, the fusion at that time is different from now. What's different? The fusion at that time not only allowed the person and the contracted beast to become one, but the effect was better. It was not as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. But the fusion now is missing the essence of the past. Sima Yue explained, before I came here, I had already made a copy of the spirit skills and passed it to my great-grandfather. If you haven't heard, they should still be researching it. I think that if the family wants to rise again, we need to find more beast tamers. Sima Chi placed both hands on the table. Otherwise, even if we have this spirit skill, we won't have so many spirit beasts. We don't need to worry about this. Patriarch and the others will naturally think of this. Sima Yun said. Sima Yue lowered her head and didn't say anything. She gave the spirit skill to Sima Yuan, but didn't tell them about the imperial beast art. She believed that as long as they had these two things, the Sima family would rise again. But the imperial beast art was given to her by Mo Sha. Without his permission, she couldn't tell anyone about it. Thinking of Mo Sha, she remembered that Wu Lingyu had been gone for a long time. According to the past, he should have contacted her long ago. Why hadn't he contacted her after so long? Could it be that he had fallen into a coma again? That couldn't be right. He had just woken up not long ago. He wouldn't have fallen into a coma now. If it wasn't because of him, then there should be something holding him back. Could it be that the Sage Pavilion found out that he was going for the Phoenix Nirvana Divine Medicine and captured him? But she immediately denied her own thoughts. He wasn't just Wu Lingyu, he was also Mo Sha, the king of the Devil Realm. With such a powerful person by his side, how could an ordinary person be able to trap him? And there wasn't any news from the continent. Thinking of this, she suddenly laughed. She must have been too concerned. He hadn't looked for her for a few months and she was already overthinking things. This book came from a book. Chapter 1476. Since there was no cure for her father in the library, Sima Yue did not waste any more time. Instead, she went to look for a few books about her family's history. Please search product #book yennet to see the most complete. Update the fastest. When Sima Chi and Sima Yun helped her find it, they were a little puzzled as to why she would be interested in the family history. She smiled and said, "Didn't I just return to the clan? I need to understand the history of the clan well." This reason made sense. The two of them found several thick books for her. They couldn't help her with this. She could only look at it herself, so they left. Sima Yue stayed in the library alone and spent a few days reading the history books. There's actually no description of this. She finished reading the last book and sighed. She opened her hand, and a milky white bubble-like thing appeared in her palm. This was something that had been formed in her body by that power during the inheritance. It didn't seem to have any offensive power, and she didn't feel anything in her body. However, she could vaguely feel that the reason why she was struck so badly when she was promoted was because of it. However, this thing didn't seem to have any intelligence or power, so he didn't know what it was. The cloud spirit said that her strength this time would have a great impact in the future, which was why she was struck so badly. After thinking about it, this was the only possibility. She thought that since it was something that had been passed down in her family, it might be mentioned in her family's history. That was why he had read all the family history books. In the end, there was no mention of such a thing in those books. So, this was not something from the Sima family at all? Or was it that there was such a thing but it wasn't recorded? She thought about it, put the book back, and went to look for Sima Qing. What powerful things did the ancestors have? Sima Qing looked at her and thought for a while. It doesn't seem like there's anything powerful. If one were to talk about something powerful, it would be that set of spiritual techniques. Is there a problem? Nothing much, I'm just curious as to why our ancestors are so powerful. Sima Yue said. Sima Qing should be the oldest person in the Sima family. If even he didn't know, then there was probably no one else who knew what it was. What exactly was this little bubble? If she couldn't figure it out, then she wouldn't think about it. Anyway, she wasn't the kind of person who liked to go down a dead end. If you have the time, go and comprehend some spiritual techniques. Sima Qing said, this set of spirit techniques is indeed much more profound than what we have now, and there are many parts that are not easy to understand. I think that since you were able to obtain this inheritance, you must be fated with it. Perhaps it will be easier for you to comprehend it. In the past few months, other than dealing with the Jiang family's affairs, most of the family's energy had been spent on comprehending spiritual techniques, but the results were minimal. I've also seen that spiritual technique. There are indeed many aspects that are different from what we're learning now. Some of them are even contradictory. If you want to learn this, you'll probably have to change everyone's views first. Sima Yu continued, I don't know if I'll be able to comprehend it. However, let's try our best. I believe you. Sima Qing's smile made her feel as if she had been checkmated by an old fox. The whole family is a sly old fox. She muttered in her heart and returned to her courtyard. When she reached the entrance of the courtyard, she saw Mu Si and a man walking out. The two of them were talking and laughing, and seemed to be quite familiar with each other. At first, she thought that it was someone from the Sima family, but when she took a look, the material of the other party's clothes was different from the Sima family's. When Mu Si saw her, his eyes flashed and he bowed, saying, Master, you're back. Are you out of seclusion? I'm out. I didn't find anything useful over there. Sima Yue nodded slightly. This is? Yin Shang greets Miss Yue. That man didn't wait for Mu Si to introduce him and bowed to Sima Yue. Yin family? Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. How was the Yin family so familiar with Mu Si? I'm the butler of Tangerine City's city lord's residence. Yin Shang said. Sima Yue understood. As expected, he was here to find Yin Lang. Yin Lang is still here? She guessed with certainty. He said that he wanted to wait for Master to come out of seclusion and didn't leave. Brother Shang would come to report to him sometimes. Mu Si explained. Is he treating the Sima family as his city lord's residence? Sima Yue said faintly, Are you guys going out? I won't hold you guys up. Yin Shang will take his leave. Yin Shang cupped his hands and left. Master, I'll send him out. When Mu Si saw Sima Yue coming out of seclusion, his face was full of smiles. Go ahead. I'll check on your homework later. Sima Yue said. This homework was naturally referring to the situation of his cultivation in the past few months. Alright, I'll be back soon. Mu Si left with light steps. Sima Yue looked at his back view and smiled. She turned and went into the courtyard to find someone to settle the score. Yin Lang was currently in his room, slumped on the couch and eating spirit fruits in satisfaction. The door was open, so he saw Sima Yue the moment she entered the courtyard. You're so comfortable here. Sima Yue pursed her lips. Are you planning to move your city lord's residence to my Sima family? How long have you been back and it's already become your Sima family? Yin Lang spat out 2 small cores and accurately threw them into the trash basket at the side. Don't say this to me. Sima Yue found a stool and sat down. Is it because great-grandfather and the rest think that you're my friend, so they can't bring themselves to chase you away? Don't say it's so estranged. Yin Lang said, I said that I want to follow you, so I naturally have to keep my word. Until you make me understand what true love is. Aren't you bored? Sima Yue rolled her eyes at him. Don't tell me there's nothing for you to settle in Tangerine City? Yin family doesn't have anything for you to do? There's something for me to do. But I plan to bring you along, so I've been waiting for you to come out of seclusion. What is it? You're a seeker spirit master, right? Then are you interested in mineral veins? Yin Lang asked. Of course. Why, you found a mineral vein and you're going to give it to me? Sima Yue asked. Sure. Yin Lang answered straightforwardly. It was just a mineral vein. If it could make her smile, it would be good. Forget it. Sima Yue rejected first. What's wrong with a mineral vein? It's not a mineral vein. It's a mining area this time. It's an ancient mining area. How about it? Are you interested? Ancient mining area? Sima Yue was stunned and her breathing became rapid. Are you serious? Of course. How about it? Are you interested in taking a look? If it's really an ancient mining area, it's not bad to take a look. Then it's settled. I'll bring you there. If she wants to go, she'll go with me. You don't have to worry. Wu Lingyu's voice suddenly sounded. Sima Yue's eyes lit up and the corners of her mouth curved up unconsciously. This book came from the collection that you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.